everybody. Welcome to
Greetings, fellow homosexuals.
this week's episode of Broken Ground.
What's good, pimps?
Yeah, what's good, pimps? Thank you, Bill. We are joined, of course, this week by Bill.
Because we couldn't afford Fleekazoid.
We couldn't afford Fleekazoid, unfortunately.
What ho, peasants?
Well, we're mostly...
The English people will understand that reference.
Oh god, the mental image of Lord Fleekazoid riding around the fucking countryside like Don Quixote, just beating the shit out of random peasants and serfs.
Yeah, tally ho!
Serfs up, pimps!
That'd be amazing.
Everyone on this podcast is sober right now, as far as I'm aware.
Well, I mean, maybe you. Anywho.
I've not had anything to drink.
I've not had anything to drink either, but well, a little bit, but not, that's not important right now. Okay.
Your drink is like 20% liquor at this point, minimum.
Okay, so
what's Aiden drinking?
Gin,
a pink soda.
pink soda, and just straight Glenn's brand gin.
Yeah.
Oh, Aiden drinks more vodka than gin.
Gin is a vodka.
I actually prefer gin over vodka, but yeah. Anywho,
have you ever had grappa by any chance?
I hate it.
Oh, right, okay.
It's disgusting.
Grappa legitimately tastes like diesel.
It's the most. You've never had it?
I've not, and that's why I'm asking.
So it's made.
Grappa
is made from
like mechanically
the
reclaimed like grape must.
Yes, it's like taking the leftovers of the leftovers from what is used to make actual wine and then distilling it into a hyper high alcoholic thing because it's the only way that it can be drank because it is so disgusting. Grappa is grotesque, Spoon. And if you'd like to vomit, go ahead and be my guest.
Like, it's a toss-up as to whether it's worse than Malort.
Did we even use it in cooking or we just toss it out?
No, I'm not sure when we acquired a bottle of grappa at some point, but it was the most grotesque thing we've ever consumed, and we're seasoned alcoholics.
That's
it might be nice to cook. It might be nice to cook maybe in, but
seasoned alcoholics.
As a veteran pisshead, if I'm actually telling you do not drink this, don't touch it with someone else's prick. I'm sorry, I wouldn't butt chug grappa.
It is the dregs of the dregs of the dregs of all the grapes used to make wine, then fermented, and then make that into an alcohol.
If you struggle with like bowel incontinence or some kind of other medical issue, threaten to butt chug a single shot of grappa, your asshole will slam shut so hard it can turn coal into diamond. Just to try and so your body prevents you from consuming this fucking swill. There'll be one guy in the comments who will talk mad shit because he's a fucking stan for grappa of all goddamn things.
Here's the thing that you know how
do what you want, Andrea. It won't make you white. You're still Italian.
Bill, here's how we got it. We were at an Alliance, or not an Alliance at Marks and Spencer's, not Marks and Spencer's. What is it? Waitress. We were at Waitress, and they had a sale on it. And it was like in this bottle with all these little flowers on it. It looked all pretty, and it was really cheap. That's why I got it. I was like, "Why is this high alcohol?"
Yeah, this was like the first year you were here.
Yes, it was within I think the first 3 months I came over here. I was like, what is this? I never heard of it, and it came in this like pretty flowery bottle, and it was really cheap. And I was like, "Oh, great!" And then it was the most disgusting thing I think I've ever drank. It's way up there. That grappa stuff, it sucks. Oh my. It's terrible. Anyway, hello everybody.
You know, normally we would wait for like maybe an hour before we discuss food or drinks. Apparently that's the start of the show now.
No, we're waiting for people to filter.
How do we even get to this topic?
I don't know.
You brought up about the Great Must stuff.
You did bring it up.
Yeah, I asked what does Aiden normally drink?
Well, I'm trying to not bring up all the things I've been cooking because I can
may as well. I mean, we're on the food section now. So.
Okay. Well, I did post it yesterday. Penny asked me if you watch our D&D streams. Penny had asked me what I was, what The Rock was cooking essentially, and I did post it publicly over here. I think in the player chat. And when she first heard it, she said, "Like, are these the ingredients?" And I said, "No, these are the dishes." So, I have changed some things around. here. Okay, I've changed.
This is not a final.
around.
This is not the final format. This was the initial.
It's largely the same though, and I'll tell you where it's different. 3 color: green, red, and orange mac and cheese. Every single. I can just.
She's still in the process of making.
I'm in the process of still making it. Yeah. So green, red,
okay.
and orange mac and cheese. Each mac and cheese is different. One of them is basil based. It's the basil and parsley. The red one is Old Bay, and then the orange is.
You said basil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. You lived in England for a good long time.
And then the orange.
No, she's lived in a fucking proper country.
The orange has actually pumpkin mixed into it.
Do you say herbs with an H?
Yeah, herbs.
There we go.
Progress.
I've lived here. Progress. I've lived here for 6 years. Oh my god, not 6 years. It's close to it though. 5.
Yeah, well over 5 years now.
Yeah, it is online. You say herbs,
whatever.
and we say herbs because there's
Is
a
it herbs?
fucking H in it.
So I'm gonna put all those into little bell peppers that I've cut jack-o'-lantern faces into. Black pudding, pumpkin. Or I didn't end up using the black pudding for this actually, but I can almost. No, you know what, Bill? We still haven't cooked that stuffing. This is the stuffing.
Don't get vexed to bug me. What's wrong with you?
I'm gonna stuff it inside of a pumpkin to cook it, because it'll make it actually really tasty.
I can hear Vex giggling already.
White onion eyeballs stuffed with a bloody cranberry sauce. Buttermilk fried chicken in a spicy blackberry sauce. Black garlic bone-shaped breadsticks. About more than half of this. I'd say like
Say that again.
at this point, 1/4 of this is now done.
No.
Garlic bone-shaped breadsticks.
I don't know what that is. That sounds basic.
I made a breadstick.
Garlic breadsticks that look like bones.
I made a garlic breadstick and I made it in the shape of a little bone. Quartered black figs stuffed with whipped honey feta and now it's a burrata, not a feta.
I don't know why, but I pictured like a massive bone, like a femur. Like an enormous.
Yeah.
Oh, they do look like big dog treats a little bit.
They do like big dog treats, yes.
Oh,
so what now to do with the whipped burrata figs is to make it look like little alien pods, so make it green. I have these candied cheese skulls with candied walnut brains. I'm gonna make it this edible tool, I think, to go under them. I don't know where exactly that's gonna go. Tweel, whatever. A sweet potato gnocchi in the shape of mini pumpkins. It's a white cheese sauce. Black and purple fried pork gyoza. Red bloody heart shaped steamed pork dumplings that is with a salt egg that is salting right now in the fridge because
fuck yeah.
Bat-shaped deep-fried cheese wontons, a game stew, bacon, and corned beef mini pie.
That was really nice.
With a eyeball on the crust, pumpkin-shaped pepperoni cheese buns, mini Hasselback potato bugs, red and black brimstone bread, which, by the way, oh my god, looks amazing. It's so cool. And then for the charcuterie tray is three color mini pumpkins. One is in Cheez-Its, one is covered in Old Bay, and one is covered in black sesame. You asked me to read this! Mozzarella eyeballs stuffed with dates and wrapped in a prosciutto flour. Well, no, it's actually now I've made that
Gary
into like
asked a good question in chat, by the way.
Uh-huh.
You said, is Aiden feeling like an army?
No, I'm making very small amounts of all of it. I'm making very small
This is actually the most
restrained
restrained she's ever been with this.
I am being very restrained because I'm making a ton of
Bill,
shit.
why are you morbidly obese? Strangest thing. I can't seem to put my finger on why.
Black dyed deviled eggs with a green filling, and yeah, that's.
Aiden likes to be creative.
And a cupcake that's full of maraschino bloody cherry with a brain on top, and also a bunch of cocktails. A bunch of cocktails. Yes, okay. That's what I did. You know, that's.
Oh no! Call Aiden a feeder, and she freaks out.
I'm not a feeder. Okay, let's get into the.
I was meant to go on keto 3 months ago, and we're still waiting.
Let's stop heaping accusations on me, shall we?
Oh, by the way, there's a tweet that V did earlier today. And I want Bill to take a crack at it because I think Bill would really, really appreciate the tweet.
Okay.
Because it's based V.
You pull it up. I gotta.
Throw my way.
I gotta grab something. Be right back.
Yeah.
You do that.
Well, I have to share the tweet now. What the fuck?
It's into me.
I'll just send it to him and then I'll put it up on the screen. Give me a second. It'll take 1 sec.
You see why I said you'd like that, Bill?
Well, that insinuates it's a bad thing.
Exactly. That's kind of my point. Like, this is a very good tweet. I actually want to do a video on it because I think there's a lot of good shit to be said about that tweet.
It holds it. But at the same time, that's going to be the. That's gonna be, no, that insinuates that he's going to pass his racism onto someone else, and at the end, Sam is going to have. So I can't carry your racism, but I can carry you.
Yeah, pretty much.
You need if someone's going to be carrying my racism, you better send a squad.
Oh my. Okay. So should I put on screen what you sent?
Yes.
Okay. So everyone can see
Because
it.
I actually
Cool.
think
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lot to be said for this tweet.
All right. Sorry.
It's a surprisingly nuanced take.
Why should I be a bigot?
It's a
Actually,
weird.
What a good question.
It's a weirdly like anti-bigotry thing. I guess it's because he's Romanian.
Well, no. Why shouldn't I? What do I gain? I've been saying this actually for years, more or less. But let's be real about it. Why should any of us not be bigots? We're all called it, no matter what. If you have any
Well,
belief, hang on. If you have any belief, no matter how minor, any belief that does not align with current ideology, which changes by the day on the left, you are considered a bigot. So why not be a bigot?
because none of you are Norman.
You gain nothing by discarding your bigotry, do you? They're going to
Aiden
call
sounds
you
like
a
me right
bigot
now.
no matter what.
I should state, and this is something I'm very strict about. Bigot is a racial slur against Normans. It's not
Yes,
for the. It's not for
that's
the
very funny,
standard.
yeah.
It's not for the standard populace.
Right, which Bill is correct about, is that bigot is a slur for Norman people, by the way.
Of which Guernsey folk promptly
Yeah.
make up like the majority of like pure blood Normans.
Yeah. But
It's such a thing way to even
it's
be
completely
tangentially possible.
But it's completely correct. V's message here. Why? Why not be a bigot? Right?
What does
They're
bigot
going-
mean? By God.
Yeah, because the way that I think of like
you know what I mean,
when
though.
you think of bigotry, and I actually thought about this a while ago. If anyone labels you in any circumstance, labels tend to be for groups.
Yes.
Yes. So if somebody's labeling you, it's a cry for help. That's what it means. Because if other people are like, you must be made of label X, Y, and Z for the purposes of ostracization. That's basically just saying you are toxic. That's what that is trying
Yes.
to do.
Well,
Yeah,
this-
it's a cry for
But-
help. That's a bitch move.
Do you know what the actual origin point of the term bigot is? It was from Rollo. Yes, Rollo of Normandy. When he got the dukedom and dethroned Charles the Simple, it was demanded he kiss the king's foot in fealty. And
did he?
in response, he said, "No, by God," which is
Nice.
nisse bigot.
Because
So literally, no, like bigot means I'm not kissing.
Yeah.
I'm not towing the
By
line
God,
on
yeah.
this. You can fuck yourself.
because for me, it's a question of bigotry is basically just a form of standard.
Yes.
That's all it really means. Like I may not discriminate against like X, Y, and Z. Says who? Why am I not allowed to
discriminates
discriminate?
against everyone discriminates. If you weren't able to discriminate, the entire species would not exist.
I discriminate against
Discrimination-
fat women by not allowing them access to my penis. I think
Discrimination-
that is a fairly fair discrimination.
Yeah, discrimination is a key aspect of
being human.
evolution. Of evolution, not just for humans, for every species on
free
this
will.
Or
fucking
a
planet.
basic pattern recognition.
Yes, you have to be able to discriminate. You don't want to mate with a leper, now do you? That's what discrimination is for.
Give him 5
Just-
years, it'll be a kink on Twitch.
And you could say that, yes, you could say the racial
Probably there
stuff,
now at this point.
but that's because it's not part of your kin, not part of your clan. And
Yes, tribalism is normal.
in early human civilization, you would perceive outgroups as potential threats. That's why miscegenation.
We still do. Why do you think I hate everyone that isn't white?
I'd remind everyone that race mixing was illegal up to like the 80s.
I know, but hang on. Okay, so
I wonder why.
I'm not saying it is evil, but I'm saying that's why people have
Civil
this
rights
aversion
cringe.
towards it. Is that and it's not just blacks or whites. It's every civilization, every race of people. They want to mate with the people who look like
Their
themselves.
own, yeah.
Because otherwise, it oftentimes what happened in history too is that tribes were invaded and women were raped. You know?
Yeah, because they were the spoils of war.
They were the spoils of war, and then those.
I regret to
mature
inform
children
my
became-
fellow Romans that the Germans are at it again.
My point just being is that like, that's why
I'd rather
there
be
is
Germans
this
than North African.
aversion towards racial intermixing. I
Filthy
suppose.
fucking Punics.
In history, it doesn't mean that it's right now, but it's why
It's
still
always right.
hangs around.
Nothing new under the sun, nothing old
Because
under either.
Yes, because it's
Yeah.
evolutionary psychology. Like, you can't undo humans.
And also, you can just look at their civilization styles and go, what will my
But
genetic
I'm
line
just saying
look
you
like?
can't undo how humans evolved to have the.
Well,
this-
that's the
this
whole point of the
outward
field.
distinction.
That's the whole point of the field of like psychology is the idea of trying to. Because the whole point those
Well,
fields
that's
exist
what
is to build on that Project MK Ultra.
No, that's well, maybe that's why my field exists. It's not.
I
Like,
absolutely
unfortunately, they
adore
train
like
someone
how
like me. Whoopsie.
Bill and I are going base, and you are desperately trying to keep it from going off the rails.
I suppose so. All right. Speaking. Of, what were we supposed to be? Oh, right. We were supposed to be freaking talking about
The gaming
the
thing?
Catholic Church.
Oh yeah, the
I have an explanation for it, by the way.
Okay, so the Catholic
at least
Church
it's female.
unveils new cartoon
not sure if it is.
mascot. Archbishop Reno Fishelia
He's a killer.
says the mascot named Luce. Luce is it Luce or Luce?
Isn't
He's
that
Luce.
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 Luce. Luce is created from the desire to enter the world of pop culture so beloved by our young people. So Luce is of
That's
course word
bullshit.
for light.
Now, the reason young Luce here was unveiled is that next year in 2025 they have a big thing. They got a big major function in Osaka,
Yeah.
and they're trying to do some shit to
Why does it
lure
look like
the
it's either a
Nihon goes in.
shell or a crown
no.
in their eyes?
It does. It I think it's explained in the article as to why there's a shell on the eyes.
Oh,
As per usual, whenever the Catholic Church does anything, it's always it's specifically anchored in like specific phrases of the Bible. Like when you watch something as dumb as Bible Man, like every bit of Bible Man's kit is explained as like the hell is like the
Yeah. Named
Bell
after
of
the Latin
Truth,
word
etc.
for light, the mascot was designed by Simone Legno, the Italian co-founder of lifestyle brand Tokidoki. Oh yeah. Oh, it's totally Toki. Oh, it's definitely Tokidoki design. Now I get it. Yeah. Which is inspired by Japanese culture. He also designed Luce's pilgrim friends, Faye, Shin, and Sky.
he's an adorable character, actually.
It is cute as hell.
It's a little fella.
Everyone likes it. It's just cute.
No one can decide what gender it is. Though.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like,
Typical elements of the pilgrim, her features, pointing out to her shining eyes
there we go,
and the
go.
symbol of
Huh.
hope in her heart.
Luckily, luckily Italian is a gendered language, so it's really easy to puzzle out.
I have heard. I guess it's not in this
Luce
article,
was
but
the.
there
no,
are
version.
some explanations as to like what the shell means. She's got there's a ship here on her raincoat.
The coat's meant to be for mariners because there's
Mariners, yes.
there are specific versions of prayers just for mariners.
Yes, a whole lot actually. Yes, every single aspect of it actually has some alternative.
I could make the
meaning.
ship
The Wellington boots are for the long travels, etc.
The shell, I forget what specifically the shell is
Sponsored by
supposed to,
BP.
No, it doesn't look like that, but no, it's not it.
Are we sure?
Luce
Yeah.
spills oil, doesn't burn it.
The thing is
That's what's on the shoes.
the internet
Trekking
has
through oil.
fallen. The internet has fallen in love with this character,
Yeah, 'cause it's cute.
and it is cute.
It's a little
and
fella.
She is cute, and a bunch of who do you think's mad about this character?
Anyone that isn't, or basically anyone that's a homosexual.
Yes. They hate the fact that the Catholic Church has come up with a cute character. They're
Did you
calling
s-
it like they're
did you
calling
see
it
the-
pedophilia. By the
Did you
way,
see the
I've
Pepe
seen some
meme,
of
by
that.
the way?
No.
There was it was a take on the the Avril Lavigne song Skater Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it had the Pepe in the chainmail armor with the
Yeah.
with the crusade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Crusader
was-
boy.
Yeah, and it had
Oh god.
it was him and her, and it was like he was a boy, she was a girl. Can I make it any more obvious?
Yeah.
It's not a bad
Very
meme.
good. Good meme.
Yeah, apparently the scallop shells in the eyes are a reference to it's a symbol of pilgrimage.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, it's a pilgrimage symbol. Okay.
As a,
I did read about it, but I couldn't remember
I'm
what it was.
technically adherent to the Hussite heresy, so my symbol for journeys and
Also, the
long
particular-
argia is a flail and beating someone on horseback to death.
The particular stave that she uses also has some.
Yeah, it's a
additional meaning.
specific like pilgrim staff. It's a alpenstock.
Yeah.
So no, it's not an alpenstock. It's
Some of the lefty
pilgrim stuff,
cringe
basically.
that I saw related to this is that they were like, "Ew, the Christians are all showing that they're pedophiles by making art of this character,
Making this
who's a
Nindoroid.
girl." Well, I mean, yeah, she like tiny, I guess, but most of the art that I've seen of it has not been. It's just been cute and wholesome. But they're making art of a child with AI, or they're drawing art of this little cute girl character that's like wholesome as hell. That means they're pedophiles, and it's like, you guys, look on the left. You got to drop that pedophile shit. And I'm saying, I'm giving this to you
I
as a.
followed a star.
I'm giving this
the
to
Daily
you.
Star.
Yeah, I'm giving this to you not because I think you should actually stop, but as like a, hey man, stop calling other people pedophiles. You do the left never wants any kind of pedophile shit to come at them because they're always so guilty of it. Oh my goodness.
Well,
So
yeah,
anyway,
I mean, just like who's in favor of gay pride parades? You people.
Oh yeah, what? Well, but they'd
I
say
say
what-
people.
what- and they'll say
Muslim rally car drivers.
and they'll say, what does it have to do with pedophiles? And it's like, oh, man, really?
People always be like, oh, "Bill, you can't do that," and I'm like, "It's a
can't we
medicinal
just
wood.
let-
It is a medicinal wood chipper. See, he's cured."
Exactly.
If you think the Catholic Church is full of pedophiles, that's naturally where the LGBTQ was like, oh wait, never mind.
Don't look
Yep.
too closely at the teachers' unions and what they get
Look,
to,
and I'm-
to
and
hiding.
look, guys, don't get me twisted on this. There's a bunch of conservative pedophiles too. That people who get into power very often.
Yeah, they go to
are
Jeffrey
pedophiles.
Epstein's island.
Sure, they do. People all over the place on either side.
It's the
of
strangest
aisle.
thing. The only thing they all seem to have in common is an iPack handler.
And that they all enjoy molesting kids. So,
That was
yeah,
implied with the iPack handler.
I know, but my point, I just making it totally clear.
Can I say something incredibly base that is going to sound really bad out of context?
We've already been talking about nonsense all day, so we might as well.
So yeah.
Yeah,
This is already demonetized.
have, have you seen the picture going around of a bunch of black people behaving like monkeys?
You want to narrow that down?
Yeah, that doesn't narrow it down. At
No,
all.
like literally moving like monkeys.
You want to narrow that down?
That doesn't narrow it down at all.
No. I mean literally like on all fours,
it does
moving
not
like
narrow
monkeys.
Spoon, it does not narrow it down. I've seen
How?
many clips like this.
Okay, oh, Jesus, I don't know what.
If you got it,
part of the
post it.
internet-
If not, we're not gonna figure it out. It's
And,
like-
and Bill's
this.
seen all the shit I've seen, so for the most part, so no, we haven't.
okay, I've not seen this one yet.
Oh wait. Okay, hang on.
Let's begin to...
I don't know if you could put this on screen.
No, decidedly not.
Oh, is it that way? Hang
No,
on.
it's just weird.
Wait, is this something I can't show on screen or something I can show on screen? Is what I'm asking.
Well, it's not offensive. It's just strange.
Okay, before we get into that, I want to end off this segment by saying, if anyone finds this little character weird or creepy or something, that says more about you than it does about the Vatican, and the
Yeah.
Vatican covered up
It's
sex
a
crimes.
sketch
So,
as it is, yeah.
just saying, the Vatican did cover up child sex crimes, but if you see this character and you think something's sexual about it, that's more on you than the Pope, okay?
In my brain, they see like there's a team that made Luce's design, and they were just like
What?
waiting. Yes, we finally got some fucking anime shit into the Vatican. We're in here, boys, and they see it all going up, and they're all high fiving each other. Okay, lads, job's done. Let's go watch some more Evangelion.
Bro, what is already happening here?
Yeah, This is meant to be like a
Is this gonna be really disgusting?
No,
No,
it's
no,
Okay.
it's just weird.
just strange.
Oh, I mean, he's not hurting anybody.
He's hurting himself. That's some sciatica forming right there. Look at his back. It's all like scoliosed.
Yeah, that's just.
I think he's got like an
wrong.
actual back problem. You want to get that looked at.
Yeah, he might. Guys, he might actually be that way because he's fucked up. Anyway,
Scoliosis
so,
is quite common amongst blacks.
Speaking of diversity, let's talk about. So my video about Dragon Age, Veilguard, which is not its main premise, but it is a major focus of it. I'm waiting for my advertiser to talk to me, but I'm having some issues with it, so we might just release and not bother with the advertiser, because if I would really like my video to go out on the day this game, Dragon Age Veilguard, releases. Because that seems apropos. So, some more things have come out about it now, though, because, even though you're not supposed to share anything about this game, because it has not been released yet, the advanced copies have been released, and some of this stuff is un-fucking believable.
Pounding that snake's nose. She's still holding the ruby in her other hand.
By the way, this is Cassandra from Dragon Age in the DLCs for 1 and Dragon Age 2. And she appears in Dragon Age Inquisition.
First of
And
all,
this is
that's
her.
the voice actress. That's the one who played Isabella.
Or Isabella, not
It's
Cassandra.
Isabella.
Sorry, not Cassandra. Isabella. Sorry.
Like she does sound
Sandra's
significantly
from
different. She
Diablo.
also she's got about 1/5 the budget to borrow a term that she once had.
Look what they've got her. Look
She's
what she looks
significantly bleached looking because Isabella was quite dark.
like. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, interestingly, yeah, for the people who
Did she make a genie wish to trade in her melanin for smaller jugs?
No, but remember,
What
this is
did
the
you
company
do
that
to her
only
tits?
cares about how brown somebody
Why
is.
does she look like North African now as opposed to like Caribbean?
Because they're insane. But
Why
listen
she-
to this fucking dialogue. Hang on, listen to the dialogue, guys.
And maker's panties. I was so proud.
Oh,
Ah, shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
We have to correct our
Instantly, I hate
pronouns.
everyone.
I had to correct my pronouns.
I want a scene of Isabella just getting loaded drunk and throwing a bottle at her head at full speed.
Oh,
Just
That
Could
sounds
you-
like something Isabella would actually
This
do.
is so. This is how they imagine, and I know this because I've seen these people how they talk. It's like this is exactly how a conversation should work. Of I said she or he instead of they, or I said she instead of he. Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, they'll say I will be angry at you for misgendering me, but I can understand it.
like
They
and
always
you can
talk like this.
you can hear the eye roll on the voice
Yeah.
on Isabella's voice actress.
Yeah.
Like she's sick of this shit.
Thing above.
oh,
Why she start doing push-ups?
a barv.
Tradition in the Lords
She's
of Fortune.
wearing
Half
fucking
our old members
peacock
bar.
feathers
Good
and doing
luck, but
push-ups,
like
doing
most of us,
calisthenics.
plans went side-
Yeah.
Her fucking pauldron is clipping into her
This
fucking
is-
arm.
This is something that would have been acceptable in 2008 when the original Dragon Age came out.
She
This is 2024.
she looks like she was dressed by a drunk Guns of Icarus player.
Really does. This looks awful,
Likewise
dude.
a lot. Bad
She's
First
wearing
thing I
like a
noticed is-
Mardi Gras outfit.
What,
Yeah.
She looks like she looks
Like a
like
clown?
if a bunch of pirates raided a bunch of Mayans.
Yeah. You know what it is? Oh my god.
trying to
it's
make
like
her,
a...
like, Inca or some bullshit.
Like a
Oh, yeah.
Mayan pirate.
You know what it is? Oh my gosh. Hang on. Give me a second.
Like the peacock thing on her ass. And the freaking pirate hat. Like what are
Hang
you
on.
doing?
I'm just gonna have to search it. It's this. It's just this.
Look what the hell
Is this gonna get us copyright
Okay.
struck?
This
No,
will
I'm
get
only-
us
no,
giga
no,
done
I'm only
in.
gonna
Will
play
get
a
us copyright
freaking
struck.
second of it. Right?
You say
Okay,
this and then
I'm gonna. There's the line, of
This.
course.
Just this.
And for pirates,
It's this.
This-
It's this.
Yeah.
No, that's significant. That is actually significantly
better.
closer to Isabella's old fit than her current one
yeah.
is.
Now that Bill says that, that's actually true.
Isabella
She did wear
had
bandana.
Isabella wore a blue
blue.
bandana, which
Yeah.
was very practical, and she wore like a tunic top.
Yes.
This is it. Wait, this is just.
She wore tunic top and like
No, I'm showing
base
just this image. This
brown.
whole image is just Dragon Age Veilguard.
I don't think this is Dragon Age Veilguard, but I imagine that's what their parties would look like, the staff who made the bloody abomination.
Yeah, oh, sorry, it wasn't tunic top, it was a bodice top.
Yeah.
At least, yeah. But it's all like fairly practical stuff, and now they've shoved her in what I can best describe as.
Shit.
Yeah, this is like this is straight up like Sheva's alternate outfit from Resi 5 levels of like overly revealing for no reason.
The pauldrons look absolutely atrocious.
What are they there for? What the fuck are you protecting?
Nothing.
But there's not.
Hey, I'm not complaining about boob armor, but these same people who made this
You look like-
people who made this would complain about boob armor and yet put this in the game
Like,
because
why-
lesbians. No, you
Why
understand.
is she a mix of like?
The
Why is she a
reason
mix of? She's like a mix of the princess from Dagon and Chell from fucking El Dorado.
Yes, understand this though. The reason they allowed her to be in this sexualized costume is because lesbian.
Oh,
We can
fantastic.
Yes.
Let's
we can
let's
only
let's really
sexualize
amp
the
it up.
female
So look
if we
to
make her a
Isabella,
lesbian.
already someone who dressed like a troll, and thought to themselves, "No, we need to look like her name is Captain Jack Swallows."
The only way you can sexualize a woman in a video game now is if she's a lesbian. Yes.
Not always time for big.
Which is not supposed to be enjoyed by men, and in fact, if you enjoy it, you're a disgusting freak.
Okay, also real talk. This kind of like in-house water
Look
feature
at
bullshit
how
at a bar.
weird this just scene.
It looks
is.
like they clipped it into an area they shouldn't be, and they're addressing the
yeah.
fact they've done so.
in a Skyrim dungeon. You know what I mean?
Like also, by the way, when this in comes out and you start to see it on everyone's different rigs, I guarantee you, in this scene, she will clip through that fucking floor and fall into nothingness.
Absolutely. But this looks first. Look, what is this? Look at the tarp. I think that's over them.
There's a tarp. There's a stream going through the bar, which is always a great way to get fucking black lung.
Yeah.
Can we show what Isabella used to look like?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what Isabella used to look like.
Yeah, she was kind of like
Aiden, look at Discord.
kind of half Barbadoan, half like Roma look.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's easy to
No,
pull
the
up.
bottom
Like,
one. Left. No, it's not.
that's
The next
no.
one.
This one.
That one.
Yeah. This is what Isabella looked like, right?
Not over amount of jugs, just
This
enough.
is art, but you know,
no,
he's
that's
a cosplayer.
a sizable amount of tits.
But
Nice amount, not over the top.
Those are
When your character's
those are
whole
D
gimmick,
cups.
when your character's gimmick
on.
is that she's a massive hoe, guess what? You have to have at least some budget on display.
And
Yeah.
she had tiggled bitties. That was a big part
And
of her character.
if you
but
spec
yeah.
her right, she would
Look-
do actual damage.
Look at this. This is the
Would
same
shred through shit.
character over here,
No, it isn't.
supposedly. And
That's an abomination.
That looks like how Isabella would be depicted in Fate Stay Night. No, not Fate Stay Night. Fate
also,
Go.
I'm sorry.
Take it back. I'm sorry,
Oh my
Fate
God.
fans who actually
Look,
like Fate Stay Night.
wait, look at the stairs on the left-hand side.
There's no like thing attaching it to the unless if it was attached to the wall, it would snap.
That's what it looks like in the
bar's in a
forest, in the
cave.
old forest, not
That-
not even the new.
Okay,
This is the,
if we are to assume this is in the bowels of it, like this is
This
a pirate
game-
bar of some kind,
this
that's gonna be
game-
made from old pontoons. Those will snap
Well,
under the weight
what
and
I'm
the rock.
saying is, this game looks
Ass.
15 years old.
What? So, what the
If not
fuck, bitch on the
more.
right's forehead?
Look at this guy in the red.
Look
He's
at
not
this
even-
physiognomy. Jesus
he-
Christ.
Is he supposed to be sitting on that chair or leaning against?
He's
the
wearing
bar?
like
It's
weird, like
really kind of
stitched
hard to tell.
hose with like winkle picker shoes,
I'm
and
just saying.
and his armor is like a cloth version of the DLC armor from Dragon Age 1.
This is awful for a 2024
This looks
release.
like a bad SFM.
Yeah. I mean, here we go.
Drawn out apologies.
Good
When
lord.
one of us screws up and we know
These aren't
we
even very
screwed
good
up,
fucking
we don't
push-ups.
Pretend to put it right. Pulling a bar.
No tits anymore.
I have
They
bigger tits
just
than
cut
she does.
her tits off. They cut her tits off. We just saw what her titties used to look
Why
like.
is she ocean themed now? She was never ocean themed beyond her piratical nature earlier.
Well, no, now it's
There's
like,
no
oh,
nautical.
do you know she's a pirate? So
Well,
we're
she's
gonna
got-
make it really look like a stereotypical pirate.
And make her look like a Mardi Gras peacock.
Yeah.
So insane.
Why?
This is way more racist than the last
Here
version.
we go.
This is actually astonishingly racist, I would say.
Again, they lightened her skin.
Yeah.
And then made her
She
more
was
masculine.
quite dusky in the
Yeah.
first game she appeared in.
I'm glad the
And
Lords
into-
of Fortune have Tarsh's back.
Oh, Tarsh isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
I hate
Why would you know what binarism is?
I
None of
absolutely
this-
hate everyone involved with this project, and you should be
Mm-hmm.
fired out of a cannon into the sun because you are
No,
all
here's
a
the
bunch
thing.
of dysgenic
How
abominations.
many people on the planet care? I'm not saying are, but care about the idea of being non-binary, which
Exactly
is
one
rare.
generation's worth before they start diddling to make another one.
Of about one generation's worth. The some
When I-
millennials and a couple of
When
Zoomers.
I was in school,
It's 1% of the population that
When-
even
when I-
cares
It's even
about
less
this
than
idea of
that.
being non-binary.
when I was in high
I'm saying
school,
even
there
cares
was
about
there was some pufter who was in my year, and one of the things he said to his mates was, "The future's bright, the future's gay." And without missing a beat, the token fat bloke of his friendship group chimed in with, "Well, then there's not going to be very much future left, then, is there?"
True.
Never even heard that bloke speak another word apart from that, and it will stick
That's
with me
the
till the day I
reality.
die.
Like, you're trying to appeal to a population
Non-existent.
that does not exist.
But
Really?
that's not what they're trying to do, it though.
Why do you think they're doing it? 'Cause I think I know, but I'm interested in your opinion.
Why are they objectively doing it, or why do I
Mm-hmm.
think they particularly are doing it? I actually don't think it's because it's essentially saying make this as appealing to your cringe fringe as possible, and I don't give a flying shit about anybody else's opinion. That's basically what they're doing. I would say, from my perspective, and I kind of want to do a video on this tomorrow, why is everything these people do shit? It's because they focus on representation, which means you are mentally
Okay.
unwell, because normal people don't need to literally see themselves to relate to human beings, whereas they seem to be...
Welcome to the video that I'm about to put
Yes,
out. Yeah.
and so when I look at it from that perspective, my immediate reaction is I did a video on this a while ago. I said, if I would just look at this community and ask myself, what do you actually bring to the table as human beings? Like in a civilization, are you smarter than everybody else? Can you produce more children? I can't even say that with a straight face.
Yeah.
Are you smarter? Are you more intelligent? Are you more competent in any capacity? Are you stronger, fitter? Are you in any way
Yeah.
excelling in any capacity?
No.
In any way whatsoever? Yeah, okay. So there's nothing exceptional about you whatsoever. You are the participation of life. That's
Yep.
what you are. And you take these people who
Not even
aspire
that.
to nothing good and say,
Yeah.
make something exceptional. You're never going to get anything out of them because they're utterly unremarkable brained and morons. That's it.
Okay, you can't even just bring up
Okay,
the
but-
whole accusation of being yeast people because they don't even spread.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it doesn't kind of
They do.
get to
They're
the
just in
core of
coffins.
my general question there, which is that, like, why
Not on
are they
hallowed,
doing
not on
this?
hallowed ground, they don't.
No, I think my question though
Because they can.
was again, just because they can.
Yeah.
You think that's
no,
it?
no one's going to stop them.
Industry.
They get
it's-
paid to do this kind of
I
dumb
actually
shit.
think it's far deeper than that
DEI gives you money to fuck up your industry so they can buy
why-
you for whole
why?
cloth.
because it creates a perception. I do think it is about. I talked about this actually earlier today.
It's a revolution. That's what it's trying to do.
Is that no? It's not. It's not new at all. It's that it creates this. Oh, not today.
I never said it's new.
Last night when I talked to Yiz, where it was. It creates. It's via agenda setting. It sets the agenda that this is normal. All this weird gay tranny shit is normalized.
Yeah, but
You make a
that's
video
not-
game like this. No,
that's not
but-
gonna work,
no,
though.
but it does though. And you
No,
want
it
to know how
doesn't.
I know it? Hang on. Spoon. You and I are both big fans of the original Dragon Age, right? Dragon Age Origins.
Okay.
Choose
Is there
better.
not a bunch of gay romance in that game?
Okay, but there's been gay romance throughout most of human
Yes, yes.
history. That's
Do you see though how that can work? To
but that's-
normalize
yeah, but that's
for you
different.
and me. Is it?
well, yeah,
That's
just
my
because
question,
yeah,
is it?
because that's like homosexuality is still fairly universal in terms of
I
human
know.
history, whereas
Right,
non-binary just makes you want to put an axe through somebody's face. So that's not going to gel.
I
I think the Greeks are skewing the whole gay thing as well.
I'm
We
not
should not count
sure.
them.
Yeah, yeah. The reason I say
not
it,
sure.
it won't take is because it's against human nature,
It is.
Plato was right.
yes.
But
And so was Mussolini.
what I think is
No
that
revolution can change the nature of man.
Hang
and
on.
this is an
Mussolini,
attempt
the
at-
only correct Italian.
what I want to say though is that I think we have to be very careful with this because I
About
think
Mussolini?
it is possible. No, I think it is possible that essentially this stuff can become normalized in the same
No,
way
it can't.
that you and I were okay with there being gay romance options in earlier BioWare games.
Yeah, but okay,
right?
but okay. So your hypothesis here is that as long as it's delivered slowly, we will always take to it. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's far-fetched.
This
Not
is one
everybody.
frog. You're not boiling.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
not everybody. Not everybody. Not everyone.
This is
but-
overwhelmingly rejected by literally everyone. Less than 5% of
Yes,
people give a
yes.
shit about this stuff.
My reason in bringing it up though is that Spoon, I know that you and I love Dragon Age Origins. We both do, right?
Okay.
We really like that game, and there's a bunch of F-slurritry in that game.
Okay.
So I
it's
think
not
what
a-
what I'm saying is that the developers are doing is trying to do the same thing, of like, oh well, people were accepting of this, now we'll make. They're trying to move the goalpost, trying to move
Yeah,
us
but
into the
that's
direction.
not gonna work.
I don't think it will either. I don't think it will either because it's a very big difference between saying I don't really care who you sleep with versus I'm a man and I need you to let me participate in women's sports and use women's restrooms. And
Okay,
vice versa,
by all means,
right?
you may participate, but first you must beat us you must beat the female or participants in the skeleton bobsled. We
Yeah.
may have placed a wood chipper on the course somewhere. That's for you to find out.
What do you mean? Is what I'm saying making sense? I hope.
Somewhat.
Anywho, let's continue to watch this.
It was a little before your time, but Horlicks was one of ours. Huh. Bastard looked better than I did in a dress or pants.
God.
Someone's named Horlicks.
Yep.
Too.
Why are you named after a malted milk beverage?
Any reason you can't just
This is, by the way, the player character. Point that out.
apologize?
Looks like
Sometimes people say
it doesn't look
sorry.
like it's rendering correctly.
No, it doesn't, does it?
That character is so
Interesting.
blind, it's literally phasing out of
They
goddamn
have
existence.
paid a lot of attention to these characters that still look like they're from a game from 10 years ago.
It looks like
And
Narinda
this-
Kaur.
Yeah.
Better.
These characters look like they're from something like Sea of Thieves.
Isn't it interesting that both
They
of
look
them
like
have,
low poly, like multiplayer game
and
models.
both of them have chin piercings.
Chin
Isn't that
piercings,
odd?
what?
Or lower lip. See this?
Oh.
Look at it, right below their lips.
Which,
They
you
both
know,
have
that thing that
piercings.
if you're in fights regularly is the first thing to smash your fucking teeth down your
Yeah.
throat.
Oh, odd.
And hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. Trust me, I know. But pulling a bath, you sweat a little.
Why are the animations so stiff?
It's
Shows
awful.
the other person you mean it.
This is mocapped. How is it this fucked?
It's terrible. This one looks okay, but it's super closed in, so yeah.
Mean it when they say they're sorry, though.
We're going to have an explanation for why there are Asian elves.
Some people.
And they've
they
all been
suffer
Welsh
this
up till now.
dramatic-
Dude, this is awful.
They make it about them.
This legit looks worse than Oblivion.
I mean it right. I'd never
Oh
do
my
that.
God.
Like, in terms of animation quality. Look at how it's just fucking.
This, by the way,
Jaw
Very
flaps.
stiff, yeah.
if you've tuned out,
It's like
this whole
TerraVision.
This whole conversation they're having right now is Isabella bitching about people not respecting pronouns. That's this whole conversation of people being like, "Oh, sorry, whoops, I fucked up," and her castigating someone who
Does anyone
accidentally
remember
forgot
that this
you
was
have a new
a
fucking
pirate
pronoun.
wench who shagged people and then kicked everyone's ass?
Yeah, it's who she used to be.
And now
Something
it's,
bad
oh my
about it,
goodness,
but
I'm terribly sorry, Miss Jenny. Like, who?
Oh,
gives a
yeah.
Oh, you know what this is? This is the transition from like Saints Row 2 to Saints Row 3 Shandy.
Oh,
But worse.
That's totally true as well.
But 1,000 times worse, yeah.
What they
And-
did to
Everyone
Johnny in
else.
3 was an abomination, seriously.
Everything
I
in
used
3
to
was
really
shit
enjoy
compared
Johnny
to
in
2.
3,
2
yeah.
is so perfect.
Two
Again.
is the perfect. Is a
The
It's a-
only
it's the
thing that was
perfect
bad
crime
about
game.
2
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only thing that was bad about 2 was the soundtrack was shit. That's literally it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
the
you
soundtrack-
could add you could add songs in
add,
there.
You could add stuff in, so it was like pretty easily. So
It was like the last game to have that. Was the
Yeah,
upload
yeah.
your own songs.
It
option.
was better than GTA 4.
yes, it
Oh
was.
God, Jesus Christ! Anything was better than GTA 4.
You know how popular GTA 4 is with people? The storyline,
I
don't know
I actually
why.
like GTA 4 again. I like.
So lots of
GTA
people have AIDS. Doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Okay, alrighty, right. Let's go back to this.
God
To
damn.
smooth it over and make them feel better.
This is Magic Johnson's doing fine. Doesn't mean I want to partake.
Oh my God! Listen. Did you hear how bad that was? Listen to this.
Smooth it over and make them feel better.
Oh, okay. Yes, some
Oh,
First of all, we should not be emulating that in case someone clips this out of context.
Yeah.
Secondly, and it's like this is just shit.
I can't
Oh god, the texture on that coat in the back
I
foreground.
know. Well,
That looks-
it's a
DLC.
coat with the old. It seems to be a
Yeah.
DLC coat. Yeah.
It's like the DLC armor from the first game that
Which
you
was
only got
given
if you
to
if
people
you
who got the game early, so you know.
or if you got if you had a save for Mass Effect,
Maybe.
you
Yeah.
get it.
I do that.
Pulling a barb
That's
puts
like
it on
two.
the person who screwed up. They made the mess, they fix it, done.
Okay, so that's one of them. I got some more stuff. This game is insane. It is the most woke AAA game I think ever made. There's like really no.
Again, look at the skull
Shameless.
structure on these fucking characters. Jesus.
You're not alone.
Yes, you are.
Whatever's out there, we'll face it together, I promise.
Oh
Sorry.
god, the cringe.
I
What did you do to
kiss
Scout
right
Honey?
now.
No, not without a fucking stepladder you can't love.
Kiss you right now.
At least there's something we might need to. It's your magic.
Rook?
Now he has AIDS.
You make the world spin, Lace Harding.
Rook!
This
Lyrium.
is
I'm infused with lyrium.
Oh my god.
I
This is
Stop.
so awful.
noticed it when we touched. That night when we talked about your dreams.
You knew? You
Has that
knew. and
outfit
you
got a
still
fucking
kissed
pink
me.
triangle on the back?
I haven't actually seen this clip yet.
Either have I.
I
Look
am
on the back of the
regretting that I am.
cloak.
I feel drunk.
Yeah. It's because I turned your head into mush.
Is that okay? I might be.
Love.
You boo.
Look on her
Not
cape
funny.
when she turns around. First of all, this outfit is fucking atrocious. And like, yes, the Assassin's Creed fucking sash as
I
well.
promise. I will
That's just a button-up shirt.
fix it. Okay? Okay? Damn it. No.
She's got a
Touch.
pink arrow pointing downwards.
This is supposed to
On
be
a
Scout
coat.
Harding.
This is what everyone is saying. By the way, that's supposed to be like the best character in the game.
What, Scout Harding?
That is the character that I've heard is the best.
Do you know who Scout Harding is?
Yeah.
You know Inquisition?
Yes.
Yes. She
That's
was the
supposed-
she was the chick who before in every single new area you go to, she was the one who
Yes.
basically told you what's what.
Yeah, I do
And-
recall this. And that's supposedly, from what I've heard, the best character in the game. They gave her like lyrium brain poisoning.
God, what the hell is with the hate
Shouldn't
of the elves? Oh, the
Non-binary. I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on. That's when this character comes out as non-binary. The Tosh, the person with the horns. For those of you who are
Well, of course, the only trans person.
Culinary.
Well, it's obviously like it's genetically perfect for the Culinary to be transgender. After all, you can't fit a noose over those horns.
Well, here is a fucking interesting quote from Sten,
Not with
if
that
I can
attitude.
find it.
Well, yeah, Sten hasn't got horns, so
I
they've
think
explained that.
Sten has something pretty specific to say about it. Is that he does say that he does say that he doesn't understand the idea of, okay, if you are a woman in Dragon Age Origins, sorry.
Sten was really, really based.
Yes, he was.
Well, he was just like I wouldn't call Sten base, but he was basically
Uh,
By
he's
today's
basically
standards,
he's basically a fundamentalist Muslim in the fantasy setting.
Yes, he is basically a Muslim, and if you are a female warden in Dragon Age Origins,
He gives you the business.
he'll be like, you should be home, you should be having babies and fucking around with that shit. Oh, here it is. All right, here we go. Hang on. Image address. Hey. Quick. Why would women ever wish to be men? That makes no sense. Sten from Dragon Age Origins, and then
He's correct.
took a long, hard look into it. Kid will always show the face of a hero who can get it done. Establishes transgender identity and unlocks new dialogue options. I'm
You know what
getting
that does
there.
tell you though?
What?
It tells you that transgenderism is just a flick of a switch. It's not actually meaningful anyway.
According to them, they think it's just something you just pick like that. Yeah.
Also, perhaps like Sen has a unique input into this, because given that his entire life, because of his role as a man in Culinary society, has been nothing but fucking tragedy and misery.
True.
Like his,
You might be able to slightly bias.
Yeah.
and he's like the most fundy out of all the Culinary, barring like the Arishok himself, too. So I played most of 2, so I've got the rare insight.
Oh man.
I beat almost all of
the
2.
devs not to spoil specifically who I'm talking about here. As a non-binary person myself,
oh my god,
Veilguard includes some of the most authentic representation of coming to terms with general gender stuff.
Oh my
and having
fucking
to
god!
your families.
You're not. You shut up. You're like a goth. You're a goth.
Don't
you're
bring the goths into this.
You're some weird subculture. Just wear your fucking costume and get over it. Holy shit! It's like maybe say.
It's hard for them to wear the costume when it involves the noose.
Man, I was an MSI fan. I dressed like a rainbow, and I can't say the F word, but that's how I dressed for years. That's how I dressed when I was in high school too. I also dressed like an asshole. Am I supposed to have special privileges for dressing like an asshole? Go just dress yourself like an asshole and go be an asshole in your fucking self. You're not non-binary. You're a fucking attention whore.
You're not special. You're special.
Oh, I'm so annoyed. Anywho.
His reaction to it, I've yet to see in a game. It doesn't feel like an after-school special or like I'm being pandered to.
I'm sure if the person saying that says it doesn't feel like an after-school special,
it is.
It 100% is an after-school special.
And it definitely is pandering to you.
This bitch out here trying to receive Sky News.
I know.
With that fucking satellite dish strapped to the belt, bolted to her fucking skull. Hey, down in fucking front, you look like you're trying to intercept fucking theta waves. God damn.
Yeah, she's trying to contact the aliens.
Why do we have fucking blaxploitation Dante over here? Look. I know his name's Nero. Doesn't mean you have to be Nero.
And finding out that the writer for this character is non-binary themselves
Who cares?
did not surprise me at all.
A damn good-looking hero, if
9
I do say so.
out of 10.
Oh, that
well,
voice
the writer is also a non-binary. It didn't surprise me. You know why it didn't surprise me? Because of fucking course. Because nobody who wasn't part of your weird cult would ever think to include this in a fucking video game.
This current state of video gaming is proof that Xanax has gotten too cheap. We need to get bump them prices back up. Yeah, well, it's about like a bumper pack for them these days. Jesus, this is hideous.
Yep.
What is that fair?
Hey, look at that! Look at this!
What the fuck is this bullshit? It's a pair of hot pants with like Kamen Rider O's boxer shorts poking out the top with a fucking
for the
with a shank.
non-binary character, by the way.
With a fucking shank stick there. Which, by the way, that why is that handle off center and bent like it's made of plastic?
Good question.
Why is everything about this not got a proper skeleton to it like it should?
Just some more stuff. I mean, like everything about this is falling to bits. The development.
Quite literally.
This Lena Hafer person is a trans. This non-binary thing.
Cult.
She, they. Yes, this was made by a cult.
Not the fun ones like Om Shinrikyo that just kill people.
They did make a game too, to be fair.
Did they? Oh no, I thought they made an anime.
No, I said they made a game. They just made the anime. Okay. Right. If Om Shinrikyo can make an anime, then the Leftoid cult can make video games. And if they were like, how could we be a cult? We're in charge of things. Well, yeah, it's kind of part of the problem. But also, cults can make artistic works, like Om Shinrikyo making a freaking video game, or should be an anime. Damn,
they made both.
Brain is
they made both.
Growing up. They did do a video game.
Yeah, it was in the 90s.
I was pretty sure, but my brain got confused. Okay, so Chunk Yogurt of the Young Turds has something to say about the. We're gonna about to get into this. A 3-hour-long interview that Joe Rogan did with Donald Trump. I have edited the video to be acceptable because hopefully acceptable because YouTube doesn't like people to play it because of copyright stuff. Anywho. The reality is that Kamala Harris has no chance of winning. She was never supposed to win.
Not legally, anyway.
Well, she was never supposed to win. We've talked about this for weeks and weeks now, haven't we? For months.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris was not supposed to win. She was instead actually designed and set up to fail. So, all of the Dem sweepers have to get in line, and Chunk Yogurt of the Young Turks has to get in line and say and tell to you, his low audience who obeys everything he tells them to do, that Kamala Harris ain't gonna win.
And
But
personally,
he's actually saying that.
Yeah.
I hate that, but he did. And so the presidential thing is, I mean, as long as you're not listening to him, right? He had.
Remember, Spoon, I told you this was going to happen. They were going to they were going to tell their fan bases that, oh, she's not going to be able to win. Because the mainstream media will be like, yes, 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 she can't lose. And in the background, they're going to be saying, get ready for it.
He had a great suit on. He's sitting there and speaking authoritatively. Rogan is having a back and forth conversation with him seems like two human beings talking. That's definitely helpful to Trump.
Seems like it? You wouldn't know what that seems like, would you?
So awkward, right?
Well, Chunk wouldn't know what it... He can only know what it seems like for two human beings to communicate, because he's
Turkish.
far outside of that.
It's all about timing, folks. You just gotta wait until they get really sedentary and forget you're there, and then bam, jab straight under the armpit. Next thing you know, they're on the. I can hear her laughing upstairs.
But he's speaking to him as a person of authority, and Rogan is deferring to him, and then they like each other, so it goes back and forth smoothly. There aren't.
Joey Boy's not been fond of old Trump.
Politicians.
Yeah.
They don't actually get on that well because they're in the same industry.
They don't. They've not gotten along so well. That's the crazy thing. Like people like Chunk have been calling Joe Rogan.
If you know two commentators in the commentary industry for major like combat sports like MMA, like WWE, where both of them have worked, these motherfuckers hate each other's guts, I guarantee.
Yeah, they worked in the industry before podcasting. Yes, wrestling circuit,
including Kamala Harris, are talking point machines, and that's not what Trump is doing. I'm going to get to the substance. Don't worry of what he said, and that's where things devolve. But if you're a person looking at it from the outside and you don't know much about politics, and
I don't think Chunk. Okay, so has Chunk been keyed in on the fact that Trump is going to win or not? Because it is a foregone conclusion. We all know this.
I think there's some fuckeries afoot, I reckon.
The left actually is involved in helping with it, to be fair. So is Chunk, is he in on it or not? That's what I want to know.
You mean
does he know that fixes it?
I reckon that they've now cut him out of the business.
My question is, does Chunk know that the fix is in or not? That his own party that fixed 2020 is now going to fix 2024.
I think the Young Turks have been cut out of the loop. Because they know that the left knows they're on their way out.
Might have been. It might be easy. Maybe the powers that be figure it's easier to leave the leftoids in the,
They're playing the long game. They're waiting for Hassan's toadies to be the ones
What do you call it? Leave them in the archway. Let them
stew.
Let them stew. Let them stew in it.
You don't know much about the details of these issues. You
lurch,
look and you
not
go,
arch.
well, that guy looks like he's a president, and that guy looks like he's a real human being having a conversation with another human being. He doesn't seem like a robot. He doesn't seem fake in that sense. So, and most people don't know a lot about politics, and undecided,
including you, Chunk.
Including you, Jank. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
People know even less usually, because that's why they're taking so long to decide. Now, I know all the facts, so
no, you don't.
I decided a long time ago, right?
What are you talking about?
I know all the facts. Hey, 3. Well, I know all the facts. Not even you believe that, Chink.
One day, I think if it hasn't happened already, we're rapidly approaching the day where whoever's in charge of DNC counter ops will just cut out Cenk and go directly to Hassan. Just go straight to Hassan for the fucking psyop bullshit. I think we're probably there at this point. That's how bad things are.
So, hence, on the outside, before we get to the actual
trying to
substance
sound
of it,
intelligent. Okay.
It looks really good for Trump, and you got to be honest about it. If it was, and you know me, if it was a train wreck, I would be very happy to tell you that it was a train wreck and explain exactly how it was, right?
That was terrible. Chunk. You didn't do anything. So, one thing that the left has been weirdly obsessing over is that J.D. Vance apparently plays Magic the Gathering, which,
no one's perfect.
J.D. Vance is like 4 years older than me, and therefore you, Spoon, because they were the same age.
Everyone in this chat is the exact same fucking age.
So someone asked him, and he said this is his favorite card, this Yawgmoth's Bargain. And the thing
good
is, you
artwork.
can see here that this card was printed in 1999 or 2000. This is an old ass card. Now
it was banned at the time, wasn't it?
No, it was banned later because this is a completely broken card. Oh my god! Skip your draw step, pay 1 life, draw a card.
For 4 and 2, that's
super. Oh, if you know anything about Magic the Gathering, you can understand why this game is incredible, or why this card is incredibly.
As a Yu-Gi-Oh player, this is like
horrifying.
Barely actually worth noting how strong it is. Like,
but at the time, there's a reason why this card was banned, and it still probably should be banned because that's crazy stuff. That is an insane card. And I wasn't even aware of it, even though that's around the same time that I started playing Magic. A little bit before me, but he's again about 3 years before me, so he found a card that he loved that was about 3 years before I started playing Magic. Wow. Weird.
What's your favorite Magic Gathering card?
Jason the Mind Sculptor.
Wow. Just gay to the end, aren't you?
No, Mind Funeral. All right, Jace, this was too obvious of an answer. That was like a normie answer. It's Mind Funeral.
Okay, I'm looking at Mind Funeral. That is pretty good artwork. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Mind Funeral is such.
And it's blue-black, which is my usual preferred.
It's such a good card. I can't even card market. Could you bring?
Oh god, someone pointed out that it's like 1-to-1 the exact same thing as the giant floating heads from Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Mind Funeral. Target opponent reveals cards from the top. Hang on. Target opponent reveals cards from the top of his or her library until 4 lands are revealed. That player puts all cards revealed this way into his or her graveyard. That is a top tier mill card, and I'm a mill player, so Mind Funeral, yeah.
Can we ban her from the podcast?
No, it's fine.
She plays mill for fuck's sake.
The point, like I feel like you were kind of nerd cred testing me, which is I think was happening here with Vance.
I was just legitimately curious because I was going to post mine in Ironic.
No, I think as to why he was asked about this in the first place was kind of like show your nerd cred, and he was like, okay, and he showed his nerd cred right here.
So he pulled the deepest pull he could possibly do, which is this.
Without saying, if he had said like Black Lotus, everyone would have mogged him, right? If he was a faker, if he weren't an actual MTG player, he would have just said something like, Black Lotus, right? Or some Eldrazi, you know?
What's wrong with the Eldrazi?
I'm not saying there's something wrong with it, just something that's really common, right? That people would know about who don't actually play Magic. Do you know what I mean?
Not that anyone should be playing it at this point. Wizards of the Coast literally had the fucking Pinkertons.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go play Yu-Gi-Oh! Fucking Konami's slightly less.
I know your favorite card is Invoke Prejudice. No reason. Axilla, thank you.
I do like Crusade. That one is actually a legitimately good piece of artwork.
That's the thing is that like yeah.
Yeah, the racist cards are funny, but like you
they are
can't beat
funny,
Rat.
but
nothing beats Rat.
I mean, you know, the Millstone of course is super important. Also, Grindstone is a very important.
But Rat though.
I'm a mill player, man.
I love my Rat.
Rat decks can be very fun.
You know,
the first time I ever talked to Jeremy from the Quartering, we just talked about Magic. And I just explained my love of mill. And that was we just talked about Magic and my love of mill.
I really like the card Piper of the Swarm.
If you can't understand, listen, guys. If you don't, some of you might know how card games work, or these kinds of weird gay anime card games work, but for what I like to do, my absolute favorite way of playing these games is mill, which is that I'm gonna make it so that you can't. If you don't know how this works, I'm gonna make it so you can't have a deck because I'm going to just make you have to throw your cards away. Or,
darling, light of my life, these are people who listen to a Monarchy podcast. They are nerdy enough to know what will it means, because most of them are probably tier elements players.
Or the opposite, which is my actual favorite, which is self-mill, which is that, hello, you're going to just sit here while I kill myself in front of you.
And we've been demonetized yet again.
It's the most fun way to play the game.
Then why don't you play tier elements?
I have never found a more fun way of playing Magic other than self-mill. It is the most funny way to play the damn game. Okay, we gotta get back. Okay, things are happening. All right, let's go. Okay. Let's watch. All right. Oh, Spoon, good. I'm so glad that you're still here, to be honest. Okay, Spoon.
It's like whenever you guys go like full nerd, the only time I go nerd mode is if you can tell me anything about World of Warcraft. That's basically
that's where I started.
Yeah.
All right, I'm stopping my stream because it's time for Watch Together.
That's where I finished, and I will stick to that.
I was an engineer during Burning Crusade. I know suffering.
Oh my god. Dude,
I had the ammo making machines that I had to grind to get, and then
okay. Now I can one. Do you know what's the apex for? If you PvP'd, you will know this. The apex of engineering was in vanilla when you could literally use iron bombs to stun people in PvP.
Oh,
that's
why Burning Crusade came. I joined Burning Crusade, and guess what? The second that expansion came out, everything had a level 60 limit on it. Didn't work on anything else.
It was so fucking annoying. Like the absolute most base thing you could do was be an engineer, because you basically, if you had an engineer, you could stun effectively in like 20 seconds using the iron bombs, because the iron bombs were like cheap shit to make. I think it required like wool and iron ore. That's basically it. And I don't think you need to be an engineer to actually use it, at least not first.
No, you're thinking of the easy dynamite.
Oh yeah, because
they were easy engineering weapons that you could sell, which no one ever
a buddy
bought.
of mine, he played a mage and he was unbelievably fucking good, and he swore by engineering because he would like basically stun
vanilla was the golden age of that, and then Burning Crusade came out and basically made it so all of the useful ones would no longer work above level 60 odd.
Yeah.
Like I think some of them would just stop working after like level 35,
which is fucking annoying. Like, why the hell would you do that?
And the problem is, like, it was trivially easy to get all those materials and make all that stuff. And
it was still
which
is what made it more fun.
Then what did you do? You went out into like the I forget what the Nether area was called, but the term like Nether Portal, I think. You used to go out there, you ground like fuck to get the ammo makers.
What, Nether?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And there were like 2 mobs there total that dropped the 2 schematics for the arrow maker and the bullet maker, and those what you were meant to be what made you money, and no one ever actually fucking bought them. Because guess what? It gave you a random number of ammunition rather than just making fucking ammunition like every other thing did previously. Pain in my ass.
Sorry, I did have to leave for a second. But are we ready to join the Watch Together?
Watch Together?
Yep, posted it in the chat.
Oh, well, I gotta set that up.
We're gonna start with the James Lindsay thing.
Oh yeah, this was interesting.
Okay. Okay. Look, this video's not that long.
Why does Aiden seem upset?
I've seen some things about it that do make me intellectually annoyed.
Oh my goodness, Aiden is human after all.
No, I have to. Yes, but I have to explain myself in that I have considered myself to be a friend of James Lindsay for a long time.
If you keep saying this every single time, we will do you harm.
I can't help.
Why do you... Who are you saying it for?
I'm fairly certain.
James Lindsay.
He's not going to watch this.
Yeah, he often does.
But he's heard it before. He knows you're pally with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You always stick up for him, and everyone here will, if ever he talks shit, we will tell him.
He's been rude and mean to me a whole bunch of times.
That hasn't stopped you from liking Adam as Sitch.
That's my whole point. Is that
you're gay?
Look, yeah, I need to fix myself on this. But so
weird.
Part of the reason I'm watching it with you guys is so that I can, to be honest, divest some of my.
Basically, she wants us to be bad cop, or she be good cop.
Yes, I want you to be bad cop.
Okay, we should stress it. She can't bring herself to be mean to Lindsay, so it's up to us to do the trick.
Yes.
Yes.
Now let's take old Yeller out behind the chemical shed and put both barrels through the back of his head.
Yes, you guys do it. I know that you between the two of you, you can in a way that I can't. I'm gonna, unfortunately, that's why I brought this up. I have to play kind of good cop here. Oh, I'm also going to speed up.
One down a bit, goddamn.
Hey everybody, it's James Lindsay. Welcome to another episode of New Discourses Bullets, where I give a short bullet point type summary of a single topic from woke Marxism that we all need to understand so we can stop it. And in this case, I'm not talking about woke the way I usually do. I'm talking about a woke right, not a woke left. We're all very familiar with the woke left, if you're a listener to this podcast, at least I'm sure. And 100
This is for the record, you can't be woke and on the right. Because to be woke is to reject reality. To be right-wing is to accept reality. So you cannot be woke and right by definition.
But he
This means he wants you to be neocon.
Yes.
But
he's basically doing that thing by taking a term that is familiar in the public discourse and trying to label his enemy with it. That's just what he's
he and Dev are aligned in that way. He's trying so desperately to find a way in which the left and the right are identical. But the woke right is people who are actually looking at
Jimbo, if you're out there.
Real, actually, demonstrable and quantifiable things, James. Whereas the left is talking about fantasies, right?
Jimmy boy, Jim Bob. I'll say this. If ever I was in the proverbial tug of war and I looked to my side and I saw Dev there on my team, that is nature's way of telling you to let go.
Yeah.
And watch that
fat
pot get dragged.
James Lindsay and Dev are.
If I ever find myself on the same side as Dev, I'll disperse myself over the stratosphere by my own hand.
Sorry, guys,
it's quite interesting that you say that. Because yesterday I found myself agreeing with him, and my exact words were, "I found myself agreeing with you. It sickens me."
Yep.
Yeah. What doesn't mean they can necessarily not ever be wrong. I mean, or not ever be right. I mean,
we'll find a way to make it wrong. Don't worry.
My point is that Dev has been right about things in the past. So has James Lindsay, but they are now in this defend democracy. I called it this in I think was it AA's chat or was it Scrump's chat? I don't remember. Where I said that the problem with James Lindsay and Dev,
is they're insane.
No. But what they are
is insane.
No. What they are white blood cells for the democratic system, right?
Okay.
They're the white blood. I'm saying they are the attack drones. They go out. They see a threat to the idea of democracy. I must go attack it. And they die. But they have one purpose that they serve, which is to defend democracy no matter what. And they don't care
by the way.
but it's true. It's true,
they
though.
see it and then they die. They goddamn okay.
But that's it, is it not?
It's all about keeping us on the rails of this fucking democracy bullshit. We all know it doesn't work. It doesn't do fuck all. All it is it is what was I said earlier about it?
I called them what they were, which is AIDS, because they are not attacking an actual thing that is,
at least AIDS had the common courtesy to kill gay people.
We call it the body politic, do we not? The body politic. They are not actually attacking anything that is actually affecting the body politic in a negative way. They're just attacking.
To be fair, Bill, they also killed Freddie Mercury.
In other words, they are AIDS. They are
That's
AIDS.
a pretty bad trade.
Both were created by the federal government.
True.
What, Freddie Mercury?
That's very true. Well, no,
AIDS
maybe, but AIDS was also created by the federal government.
AIDS and Dev.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, the federal government will take care of Dev.
Yeah.
You can. You
need a lot of shit. You're gonna need a lot of shepherd's pie.
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing.
Don't worry, we could get exhausted by working on the rails.
I think I'm pretty correct in assigning that this strange obsession with democracy is societal AIDS.
Democracy is AIDS?
Yeah.
Based? Well done.
No, and I think I've just illustrated it enough to say that I've proven it.
Billion hours of podcasts, that's hyperbole, you can go listen to get familiar with the woke left if this is your first exposure somehow to what's been happening in our country for the last 10 to 50 years, depending on how you want to count
Every hour of mankind.
But I want to talk about the woke right. Now, the controversy around the woke
That was
right
amazingly
is
fat. It's because of his T cell count. It's bloated.
That it exists, and B, if that's the right name for it. And that's a complicated question. I don't know if calling it the woke right is the right way to go. I'll put that.
You've already decided that it is the right way that you want to go with it, James. So okay. Oh my God, I'm gonna be mean. Oh no, I'm gonna be mean.
Just do it. Rip the fucking man up. He knows that you respect him in a professional sense. However, in this situation, it's up to you to actually give him a slap on the ass and send him on his way to the actual fucking correct answer, where he's not going anywhere near right fucking now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Lindsay, if you care that much, side with me. It'd be funny.
Card straight on the table. It might deserve a different name. We could call it. I think finding a name for radical splinter movements is difficult. There was a lot of fighting over the woke left, or just the woke, as we tend to call it, a number of years ago.
No, there was never any fighting.
I like the way that it's a splinter movement, even though what we believe has literally been the main form of government for most of human history.
But
that does not mean you're freakazoids. That means you're the freak because you believe in this bullshit democracy.
No, the idea that there was a fight over what term we call the woke right. No, it occurred organically because that's how memes happen. They are organic. It's not like Lindsay is so conspiracy pilled at this point. He thinks everything is a fucking psyop. Everything is some massive.
Did you see him go insane with the religion?
Eh?
Like with the freaking thing that AA did. Did you not see the video that Academic Agent did on him?
Oh no! Yes, I did see that. Yes.
Because it was really funny, and also James Lindsay has completely lost his fucking mind.
Well,
it's really funny actually.
I was a little bit confused by what you said, but no, because AA has done quite a few videos on him. It was
a recent one. It was like 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, you meant.
It was really good. I would recommend everyone go watch it.
It was very good. We're of course friends of Academic Agent on this channel.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be on stream with him on Friday.
Oh yeah, man.
I don't know him personally. I'm not gonna front like that. You know?
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
The reality is that we all kind of thought that Lindsay was a compatriot, and by that I meant sane. It turned out
he was allowed in academia.
Turned out that was very, very wrong, and now he has come up with this in his own insane conspiracy theory about this thing called the woke right,
which is
where
not
actually the conservatives control everything. They run the whole show, and they just allow all this stuff to happen.
You know what this is?
He says Saint Michael. He says Saint Michael is the same thing as some Zoroastrian demon. Is the same thing as he's gone out of his mind. He's talking about demons and angels and saying that this is the shit that regular people believe. Yes, and think that this is stuff that's invented. I know. I know that when I say things like that, it sounds insane, but
this is what happens.
Trust me.
This is what happens.
That's what he's actually talking about.
You're 3 Xannies deep, and you've just finished reading all of Bronze Age mindset.
Yes. That there's a bunch of demons and angels and it's not Ahriman, it's another one.
Ahriman's included.
If you think we're exaggerating and this sounds like gobbledygook, no, this is literally what he actually says.
This is legitimately the shit that
it was
James
on Twitter feed a couple of.
I'm at the stage now where I'm looking at the flat earthers who crop up my feed and going, it would be really funny if they were right. And even I'm thinking, this is a bunch of absolute fucking hog swill he's talking.
I mean, it would be funny, but he claims that it's because it's what the people who worship it think is real. But
that's just chaos magic. That's like gay bullshit Alan Moore does.
Yeah. Sorry, you're talking all this, but then they manifest it into reality, and it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Bro thought the Keck thing was real.
You're so
insane,
dude. James, if you do hear this, you know that I respect you as a fellow academic. I respect you. You're a mathematician.
However, you're acting like a crackhead.
Bill, can I please finish my thing? I respect you. You are an incredibly intelligent and respected mathematician more than anything. How can you, as a mathematician, how do you get here? How do you get here? You are smarter than this. What are you doing? Dr. Lindsay, sincerely, what are you doing? I'm I'm
sold
completely lost.
If
as to
someone
how we
handed
would
you a
appear.
spliff and suddenly you had this idea, I want you to go back to that person and beat them to death because they gave you something laced. You legit sound like a fent head when you talk about this shit. And if I'm saying that when I'm like straight up saying like, yeah, there's probably a bunch of satanistic bullshit going on all over the world. I'm fairly open-minded to conspiracy theories. But when I'm saying, I'm not sure about that, what you should actually look into is the black stones that help forge basically every single religion that currently exists. Those massive, those black meteoric stones that founded Zoroastrianism.
I know.
And
Cole Summers. Sorry, Cole Summers is telling me to stop.
Yes.
Trying to be kind the way that I was to Dev, because look how that turned out. I mean,
Stop being nice to people.
He needs to fucking boot up the ass.
My being nice to people has never worked out in my favor. But
yeah, so why the hell do you keep doing it then? You look
because
retarded.
it's how
Flying Gothic shit.
It's how Christ told us to behave.
Flying Gothic shit. Lindsay is not an occultist of the Golden Dawn because the Golden Dawn is now the name of a Greek fascistic political organization.
To love thy neighbor. Now, if he slaps you, don't
chin the bitch.
You don't turn the other cheek. That is a misnomer. You turn the other cheek only to say "fuck you." Slap me as a real person.
Then why didn't you do that?
As not a slave.
Yeah, you keep fucking turning cheeks.
Some of these people haven't. Dev, that one's happening. But with Dr. Lindsay, he's
a lot of talk. I hear a lot of talk, not a lot of squawk.
Well, Lindsay's never done anything mean to me. Anyway, let's get back into it.
And that fighting, for a long time, people called it the regressive left. And that term didn't stick. Partly because it's so progressive that people had a hard time understanding how it is regressive. Secondly, if you ask my opinion, regressive has too damn many syllables in it. You have to have extremely simple terminology, not necessarily conceptually simple, but in linguistic structure for it to stick. Regressive left certainly did not stick, and it ended up being called woke. And I remember the fights over whether or not it should be called woke or regressive left is more descriptive. And I think there might have been other terms. I don't remember. Probably something to do with progressivism. But we were all trying to find a term. We called the academic stuff grievance studies instead of woke or woke studies.
Sure.
Back in the day, we were all looking for terms to describe the woke phenomenon. And now woke stuck. We're stuck with woke. If woke wasn't the right term, and I think it was, and I'll explain why in this episode, then
woke was the right term because that's the term they use for themselves. So yeah.
If it wasn't, well, too bad for us. We picked a bad term. Of course, I've expanded to saying that woke is shorthand for something called woke Marxism. So now we face a similar problem on the right. There is a movement happening on the right. It is like the woke.
The reality is that if you guys have not watched James Lindsay's videos on a lot of the stuff of what is wokeism on the left, he has done some very interesting research on this stuff. He has found some old studies, old books, seem to make it all make sense. And I have often cited him in this podcast and things that he said, his hypotheses about wokeism. But I think that he doesn't know when to stop. He found the end of wokeism. He found it's not actually that deep. It's, a puddle. So he found the end of the puddle. And now he's like, well, there must also be a woke right.
Yeah, because he wants to be a centrist.
Yes. No, James. No, not all things are equivalent.
Woke, variegated. I know that's a fancy word. There's a variety of different positions that might generally be described by whatever label we're looking for, that we might call broadly, to stick with the lingo of this podcast, which again I'm saying is provisional, that we might call woke right. Broadly speaking, that movement has some unsavory characters. It has been called in the past, I think, the alt-right to a degree, but then that died. The far right, the left likes.
Why did it die? It died because it became a bogeyman for the media. Say, oh, you're alt-right. So, by the way, when I started my channel, one of my tags in my YouTube channel was alt-right. Because back in 2017, what alt-right meant was alternative right, as in not neocon. Right? Now we look back 7 years later and you hear the word alt-right and you go, oh, neo-Nazi. Well, it's not what it meant in 2017. It meant alternative right. So James doesn't even understand this.
They weren't cool enough yet.
And this is why the right, by the way, has to keep changing terms is because anytime that we find a term to refer to ourselves as I'm going to use it now, dissident right, it
I like
gets
that one, actually.
co-opted. I like dissident right. But, so for example, let's say dissident right is fine right now. Right now, that's fine. But 2 years ago, we were called neo-reactionaries, were we not, Spoon?
Yeah, pretty much.
And now
I personally like that one
neo-reactionary has been itself, even though it's in a very small format, because it is still a small amount of people, they're trying to pervert that term into being Nazi. They do it with everything. That's what they've also done with neo-reactionary, and they're going to do it with dissident right. It will happen inevitably, and we'll have to find a new goddamn term. But it will be the same people doing the same things, bringing the same ideas. They just use words and verbiage to try and trap us and destroy us every time. We are still NRX here. We've never stopped being neo-reactionaries. We've never stopped being anything that we're not. We're monarchists.
Labels are gay. Let's look at the function.
Yes.
To call it, but it's not clear what the far right refers to. In fact, with the woke right, which is a term that I'm still content with for the moment, it doesn't seem to be right wing at all. At least not if we understand the woke.
What? The right wing is not right wing, is what.
If you're happy with that term, you've got low standards.
Or sorry, if we understand left and right in terms of their
He just said the right wing, according to him, is not right wing at all, because he's going to tell you how to be right wing.
Operating systems as opposed to their external features. And I think that operating system...
He's using a HOPA rating system, and so he considers the only thing that is right... The rating system of what is right wing is more or less libertarian on a HOPA-based chart. Hans Hermann Hoppe is an anarcho-capitalist, okay?
Yeah, he's an ANCAP.
Or was. So...
No, he's still alive. We've been over this recently.
Right, I know. So, is an anarcho-capitalist. So, his high ideal is not the same as what most of the rest of conservatives' ideals are. So, using Hans Hermann Hoppe as a gauge here is faulty premising, James. And as a scientist, you should know this. And I know that you know this. You know why this is a very silly metric.
Argument is why I'm calling this thing the woke right. But in its broad expression, it's very skeptical of the narratives that it has received. It chooses to engage in revisionist versions of history and also of current events that fit within its ideological framework. Its ideological framework might be kind of close to the mainstream. The character out there of Tucker Carlson is fairly famously a Pat Buchanan-style paleo-conservative that's fairly close to the mainstream. He seems to be in or on the edge of or just outside of. I'm not sure exactly where to place him in his ideological beliefs. At least adjacent to or slightly within the woke right, but he's certainly...
If you think that Tucker Carlson is anywhere near the woke right, of which, let's be very clear, Spoon, you, myself, a lot of our friends are actually a part of the actual woke right that Lindsay is afraid of here.
Now, there are certain phrases that I hear in like paleoconservative. If someone describes themselves as a paleoconservative, I'm sure the term's perfectly okay. However, something about the tone of it and the sheer amount of different subfactions.
I want to go back to 1990 and pretend like none of this woke stuff happened and we could
let me
erase it.
But what I'm saying is, sometimes I hear this terminology and I think to myself, maybe it would be less gay if I just hang out with all the lefties who just fuck each other, because that way that would be less gay than this shit. I swear to Christ.
True.
You're on the right to get your shit together. Just admit you hate blacks like I do.
Bro, it's true.
Certainly not in the deep end of the woke right, but he has, as a paleoconservative, certain strong views toward traditionalism. He has certain, and the movement more broadly following him has certain strong views toward traditionalism, certain skeptical views toward the state of Israel, deep skeptical views toward the legitimacy of not just what they call the deep state or the intelligence apparatus of the United States.
I
don't understand why anything he just said
fucking
is bad.
Israel.
Yeah, of course, because that's really the main reason that he doesn't like us. It's because he protects the Jewdom.
Oh, but do you think the
left?
The thing is that the left's not on your side on this either.
I resent the idea that people are skeptical of Israel. I'm skeptical of Israel, but only evangelically. But to the average person, they're not doubting it's there. They just don't want it to be. Most folk don't want like some kind of psychotic nuclear armed, like Abrahamic death cult
We're
in the
supposed
desert.
to defend to the death.
Like, what? Someone really asked, "What if we made Iran but shittier?"
I mean, look,
and gave it complete gave it complete immunity to any criticism.
Look, I'll give a couple things, kid, about the Twitch bans that have happened.
At least
first
Iran was fun in the '60s.
I think Twitch is having to be forced to ban a bunch of these Muslim streamers because they've been calling for the look, and again, I have my issues with the state of Israel. Of course, we're the biggest fans of it ever here on the channel, but I have my.
I can never stand for a place like Israel. I don't like all the Polish people being here. Why would I want them in Israel too?
But the reality is that all these Muslim streamers spent literal months just talking shit and talking about how much they wanted to kill Jews, and that was fine by Twitch. That's insane to me. But that's how it was, I suppose. I mean, like, we had to even talk about it here in tepid terms. But on Twitch, it was fine for them to call for the death of Jews. I got a video of mine. It's still up, but the last, 7 years, I've been called an anti-Semite because I said the total number of Jews who died in Poland during the Holocaust is not confirmed. For that, I was called a Holocaust denier for 5.5 years until the left decided that they also hate the Jews. I mean, they always have, but you know what I mean? Like, they decided that's publicly what they want to espouse. Let's just go back into this.
Spare a thought for poor Bill. He was there the whole time denying that and never got a fucking word in edgeways.
The United States, but perhaps the United States entirely, and similarly extending into the UK and Britain, there seems to be at least skepticism toward classical liberalism that sometimes extends into a profound skepticism or an outright rejection of the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah,
there seems to be some blurring around the edges as to whether or not they understand clearly that the United States' tradition, the classical liberal tradition or American classical liberal tradition, is a descendant of what's called Scottish common sense realism, as opposed to the French or German Enlightenment, which were romantic and idealistic.
Willingly using Scottish and common sense in the same sentence.
We all know this,
Thomas
James.
Paine, and was based in realism, as in the philosophical belief that the real world exists external to us and is objective in its existence. Romanticism and idealism from the French and German Enlightenments do not agree
I
with
like it so much. I even liked when it was the Kingdom of Jerusalem.
The Enlightenment that gets criticized is in fact very deserving of that criticism that it receives because it is mysticism, but it does not do to confuse that with the Scottish common sense tradition, which is sometimes called the Scottish Enlightenment or considered broadly part of the Enlightenment, not least because of David Hume and his role in that.
Can I just say, if there was a Scottish Enlightenment, they fucking hid it well.
Can I be completely fucking honest about this?
The fact that Hume's main favoured form of government was a monarchy.
Monarchy? How about that one? How about that one? How about that one, James? James
you go for
is
Scottish common
people.
sense, you mentioned Hume, and you mentioned the guys in favour of monarchy. Well done,
thank you, Spoot. I was about to bring that up. I was about to mention that. You dropped Hume? You've not read Hume.
How can you believe in the Scottish having common sense if you don't believe in monarchy? They're both equally retarded concepts.
Dude, at
monarchy
some point,
or him?
No, at some point, I don't know what the fuck I'm listening to. You've not read Hume if you think Hume is an anti-monarchist. You've... I don't know what you've done here, James. What were you smoking, my homie?
Confusingly gets called the Enlightenment, which is it's too low resolution. It's too broad of a...
That's like saying you read Thomas Hobbes. You're no fans of kings.
That was too low resolution. The Enlightenment is the Enlightenment. No, it is an apt term that refers to an apt movement that occurred throughout Western Europe for a considerable period of time.
Also, there's no reason
demonstrable.
There's no reason you can't be enlightened and a monarch. I mean, we literally had enlightened despotism.
No,
for fuck's sakes.
Enlightenment is the specific framework, right? Enlightenment doesn't actually mean like intelligence or know anything about science. It doesn't have anything
as well.
Enlightenment is like calling your movement the big brain club, right? It doesn't
or
actually necessarily mean or anti-fascist. It doesn't actually
have you even read
mean anything.
By the way,
I understand. So you see skepticism toward the Enlightenment.
Yeah.
And skepticism toward the fruit of the Enlightenment being liberalism, which is taking kind of the French liberal tradition and traditional liberals like John Stuart Mill, and then classical liberals who are of the Scottish common sense realist line, like Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, in particular James Madison, because
he's the classic. Whoa!
By the way, Jefferson
oh
is
my
wrong.
God! Whoa!
And
Whoa!
Hamilton's
Whoa!
better.
Whoa! 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 Did I just miss something, or did he conflate the American founding fathers' liberalism with
the Scottish tradition?
classic Scottish tradition, and said that they were concurrent?
Well, this is what he said.
He just implied they were concurrent. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, that is what he just said.
He just said they were concurrent. They were like 200 years apart.
the fruit of the Enlightenment being liberalism, which is taking kind of the French liberal tradition and traditional liberals.
No, okay. Oh, thank God. Thank God. I was saying he's nowhere. He's that dumb. Okay, thank God.
Like John Stuart Mill, and then classical liberals who are of the Scottish common sense realist line, like Thomas Jefferson and James
Madison. The realist line. Okay. Okay, sorry guys. I was about to have an aneurysm, but he's still wrong about his thesis, but he didn't actually say something so stupid it would cause me to hemorrhage.
Madison, in particular James Madison, because he was the author of our Constitution, and blending them together in a confused way. So that's the very near end of this pool, but this pool gets dark pretty quick. At the far end of the pool, we have agitators like the so-called Groyper group. It's America First is how they brand themselves, led by a character.
There's like 10 of them. Who cares?
It is, as Friendly Geordie said, fucking America First with a Hispanic in charge. It's not work for wogs, is it?
It's shit. Yeah, there's a couple of hundred people who think that a guy called Nick Fuentes, whose first name I would really like to say is something else that begins with S-P-I and ends in C, Fuentes, and he's the leader of the white nationalists? You think so?
By the way, can I just point out, if you listen to the people that he lists in this particular group, it is the most normie Twitter people that you could possibly fucking imagine.
You can't, okay, as we've established, almost everyone who's a white nationalist on Twitter who's not me is Hispanic. There's no way Nick Fuentes can lead those people. He doesn't even have a fucking Goku t-shirt. Yeah, he's got no chance. He does not wear the finery of his office.
Let alone a Goku holding a taco that he's serving to you.
Exactly. Where is the yee-ass bootleg Dragon Ball merchandise? You trying to lead that many Hispanics? Not a chance.
Yeah.
Character named Nick Fuentes, who
also I really want to call Nick Fuentes.
Can I call him that? Would you get away with that?
No, I mean you can say retard now apparently on YouTube, but you can't say probably the word that they wanted.
Yeah, apparently they just that's just straight.
Am I allowed to? Someone else say it. I'm not gonna say it. Anyway, Nick Fuentes is also the.
I think he's actually. Is he his? It's Fuentes. So it's gonna be Spanish,
but he's also a cum hunter. He pulls out a fucking black light to look for semen in his own house. Okay. Left by other males.
To which I say, physician, heal thyself.
Why is he looking for that semen? What's he gonna do with it? These are the questions. I don't think I have any answers. But
I don't think I want answers
Nick
either.
Fuentes is a fucking lunatic. I've never
To be fair, I agree with a good chunk of what he says. But
and I thought he was a fucking grifter. Yeah, he says right things only on accident. He doesn't actually believe
he's that one friend you have. I say one friend, quote unquote, that you have.
But he doesn't believe in
it's
any of this
yeah,
stuff.
you're right, but he's thinking you feel bad
lines.
for him. He's like, I know you're right, but I feel like you're
maybe he was. I
saying
don't know.
it for the wrong reasons.
What I do know is that I have had one IRL interaction with Nick Fuentes, and here's how it went down. I was at CPAC with Hard Bastard, and Nick Fuentes was legitimately like a fucking elf or like a gnome hiding around corners and looking at me and Hard Bastard, looking at us and ducking around us, and because we were both not dressed in a conservative fashion. He was wearing a kung fu t-shirt and joggers, and I had bright purple hair, so he thought he was spying on us. It was fucking weird as shit. Yeah, Nick, I saw you do that. It was creepy. It was really creepy, and I won't stop talking about it because you did it. You were creepy as hell. I was like, what the I was like, who? Oh, it was Nick Fuentes. And at first I said, to Hurt Bastard, I said oh, it's Nick. It's when he first started. I was like, oh, I wish I'd gotten to say hi to him. And then in retrospect, I look back on it, I was like, oh, he was being a fucking creep, wasn't he? He's being a weirdo. Well, he's certainly made it clear how he feels since then.
Who is a very curious individual for a lot of reasons I don't need to get into. But there we see not just extraordinary skepticism of Israel, but outright hatred and blame and scapegoating of Jews that reproduce precisely the errors committed in analysis, the hasty generalization or false generalizations done by Adolf Hitler when he was writing Mein Kampf, where they have just noticed, they're always just noticing things and just asking questions. They have just happened to notice that...
James, I don't know if you've noticed this. Okay, probably not, because just by the way that you just said that makes me think. You do realize if I were to just look at history from an objective sense, my first question when I look at the Third Reich and the Nazi men is to go, these group of people they hate, is this the first time this group has been hated? No. Okay. If that's the case,
you're legitimately just asking questions.
Yes. So my first question would be, how many times have they been hated before in history? Oh, literally over 100 times over the course of 2,000 years. My immediate reaction would be, that's not the first time they've gotten in trouble. These are just the last people that had a go at them.
I'm not saying it's right.
That just means they repeat history. My first question is why? Why did they? If you've been antagonizing these people for literally centuries, my first question is, what the hell about you gets everyone pissed off?
Precisely.
That is a normal reaction.
Ask the question, James. I'm not saying yes or no in one way or the other. I'm saying that's why people start to ask that question. It's because of pattern recognition, which you, as a mathematician, and then who moved into psychology, should know more than anybody.
That is literally how you go through life. If you don't have pattern recognition, you means you're mentally deficient.
James should understand this, but he doesn't, apparently.
For example, lots of the progressives in the world are Jewish, or lots of Jews are progressives is maybe a better way to phrase that, and that the Frankfurt School of neo-Marxists was predominantly of ethnically Jewish people who were certainly communists.
You have spent years.
You literally just said why people don't like the Jews.
Here's the thing, too. Well, here's the problem. He has spent years investigating the Frankfurt School and all the things that came out of the Frankfurt School. And now all of a sudden, he has an issue because the people who were involved with the Frankfurt School were Jews. Well, and people noticed that. People noticed that.
Their religion, and so on and so forth, to conclude that the Jews are actually running an operation of stolen power to run the world to their own advantage, to the destruction of everybody else, including, referring to them as satanic and all of this. Nick Fuentes claims to be ultra-Catholic. He more or less demands...
Nick Fuentes is a gay boy who has sex with men dressed as cats, so whatever.
His followers follow, or go to the Latin Mass, kind of very extreme traditionalist in that regard.
Extreme traditionalist? Going to the Catholic Mass?
I can guarantee you he has never met a single Fuentes supporter in his entire life.
Have you ever been to a Catholic
To be fair, I don't think Nick has either.
The extreme Catholic Mass? Have you, Dr. Lindsay? Have you ever been to a Catholic Mass?
In my brain, extreme Catholic Mass doesn't look like a fucking Sardaukar. It doesn't look like a Sardaukar fucking ceremony. It looks like a fucking party.
I'm sorry. Bagoro, do you see what I'm waving over your head, lad? It's a sign of the cross. You've never been to a Catholic... There's no way you've been to a Catholic Mass.
Probably from Kerry. Don't worry about it.
No. My point is, I've been to a whole lot of Catholic Masses because I was raised in part Catholic. So, yeah. But this is insane. This is not how a Catholic Mass works. This is his headcanon insanity.
They are extraordinarily anti-gay. Everybody who they disagree with gets some kind of a slur attached to them for this. I have had all of them. It doesn't matter whether...
Well, at this point, I kind of agree.
Buckle up, Buttercup, because I'm about to teach you some new ones.
He's going to teach you some new ones, yep.
Doesn't matter whether it's in the gay department or whether it's in the Jewish department or in the neocon department. They hate all of those things. Of course, distrust of neoconservatism is kind of the defining characteristic of paleoconservatism that's in the Tucker Carlson line. So,
okay, so distrust of neoconservatism, in other words, us, is a sign of paleoconservatism. neocon shit. I would agree with that. So let's see where he goes from that.
Tucker Carlson does not have the same degree of hatred, as I see no visible or obvious hatred of Jews like you see with the Groypers, but you do.
Oh my god. Okay, so right. So Tucker Carlson, we need to support him. Okay, so okay, I think we can just define what we've found here. Just keep doing status quo. Don't have any real issues with the regime. Just pretend like everything is great. Like every leftoid is telling you to do. Great, thank you.
And I see some isolationism and nativism on his end, which you see in Extremist with Nick Fuentes' so-called America First movement, where in fact he has a extraordinarily narrow understanding of what qualifies as American and what needs to be put first.
Is
and what's
fucking idiot, and no one takes him seriously besides like 50 people. Who give him a bunch of money, dude. No one takes him seriously. His ideas,
I don't know
however,
why you're focusing this much attention on Fuentes.
His ideas, however, are not totally based in irrationality. Fuentes himself is a lunatic, but
I think that's the reason why he's aiming at Fuentes, because Fuentes has a known public association, and instead of actually grappling with the ideas, he's basically just saying this person who was already known, I can just say that he is bad because Fuentes.
That's why Fuentes makes his money, is because his whole gig is to be a mouthpiece for good ideas badly.
Yes, exactly. Fuentes presents good ideas as poorly as possible, and then it makes it difficult for the rest of us to try and then make those arguments. Yeah, because now,
because once anyone who's not familiar with these ideas hears them and they're familiar with Fuentes, they go, "You just sound like Fuentes."
To actually watch his show, I've watched a lot of clips of his show, and I've seen, I think, enough. No, I don't watch his show regularly, though. You're right. So maybe I'm wrong, but what I've seen of his show is enough for me, because it was, I don't know, it was really dumb, and it was just appearing to be taking points from people and extremifying them, if that makes sense.
I do like when he dunks some people, though. It is funny, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, he can be very funny. Look, don't get me wrong. Fuentes can be a really funny guy. He can make some really amusing jokes, but he is a Fed, or if he's not a Fed, he suits the Fed.
I think one of the reasons I like him is because so many people denigrate him as like a catboy or a complete idiot. So when he then dunks on people, it's like you just got dunked by a catboy moron. It's like, it's funny.
No, I mean, look, I agree with you. I think that's funny. I have no inherent issue with Nick.
Neither do I.
I think he's a fucking moron. But again, like when he dunks on people, it's fun.
Who doesn't qualify according to that definition. It's a very extreme version. There are also, on the extreme end, who are not necessarily Nick Fuentes or his Groypers, as they are called. There's also a phenomenon of proto-fascists openly supporting fascist dictators like Pinochet.
He's talking about libertarian memes.
And Francisco Franco from Spain as having saved Spain from communism. The Spanish Civil War is a topic of great interest. These people like to read philosophers like Julius Evola, who was a fascist. They will also...
He was a super fascist. Get it right, you fucking asshole.
I should get around to reading Evola.
Yes. An ultra fascist.
Yeah.
I'm tired of people like James Lindsay misrepresenting Julius Evola. One, go read Evola. He won't read Evola because he's a quote unquote fascist. He won't read Evola.
To understand Evola.
I don't think he could. I don't think he. I really don't want to say this about someone who I used to consider to be a friend.
Stop saying that.
James, I don't think that you could understand Julius.
But guys, we haven't quite got it yet. We need to make sure that Aiden's friends with James, even though he's a blithering idiot.
No, I don't, James, I don't think you could understand Evola if this is the kind of shit you're going to say. I don't think you could take it.
Occasionally, read or report from Mussolini. They like to do edgy memes around Hitler.
Memes? No, it's... Oh, I did a meme.
They like to do edgy memes around Mussolini. They are...
James. Yes, that's the level of cringe you're at right now.
Memes upset me.
Like I said, proto-fascists. They frequently believe that we need something like an American Franco. You will hear them making jokes referencing Pinochet by...
Not everyone who believes in a centralized government is a fucking fascist.
Yeah, this is like really, really cringe. Like, this is
My
the kind
God.
of people that we make fun of constantly for living in the 20th century. Like, if you read Evola, there's a line where he says, my political belief is basically what people considered before the French Revolution to be sane and normal. Like, to these people, there is no world before the Third Reich.
Yep.
Which
Let's
just
get
makes
through
them sound
this,
completely fucking insane.
It does. We gotta get to the Trump thing, but yeah.
Talking about the need to.
Don't worry, there was no civilization after it either.
No, I set the Trump thing up so that we can watch it for as long as we're able to
That's
stay
the most
up,
base comment we're going to hear all evening.
and then we can.
Oh, don't worry, I've got a few more in the tank.
Yeah.
Helicopter rides to
Lord of
communists,
Heaven.
what that refers to as peanut.
You think it's wrong to give? Hang on. He thinks it's wrong to give helicopter rides to communists?
Yeah.
They like to do edgy memes around Mussolini. They are,
agreed.
like I said, proto-fascists. They frequently believe that we need something like an American Franco. You will hear them making jokes referencing Pinochet by talking about the need to give helicopter rides to communists.
Well, that's
is
how
that
you
bad?
deal with them.
Why is that bad?
I mean, did it not fix Venezuela?
It was Chile.
In Chile.
Or Chile, sorry, not Venezuela, Chile. Venezuela is going great under its, communist government. That's going great. Yeah, Chile.
I know multiple people who fled Venezuela.
Yeah, sorry, I got my my South American
I
countries
had one of
mixed
them
up.
message me, actually.
But is Chile not better? Was
Boy,
not
have
better
you ever seen
under
if you
Pinochet?
meet someone in the West, in Western Europe, and they say they're Portuguese, but they don't quite look right for the physiognomy, that's usually a Venezuelan who's hiding out in Europe.
Good lord.
There's an enormous number of them. Like, I'd say a good 10% of people claiming to be Portuguese in Western Europe who aren't, obviously in Portugal, are actually Venezuelan.
That refers to as Pinochet's practice of getting communists out of his country by rounding them up, arresting them, putting them in helicopters, flying them out to sea,
the
and
helicopter
throwing them
thing
out.
was not
By
even
the way,
real.
it wasn't even real. It maybe happened once, by the way. So you're
The CIA, on the other hand, fucking did that shit
CIA,
constantly.
on the other hand, did that all the goddamn time.
There is an old joke from the Vietnam era, which is the hard part about getting a helicopter ride from the CIA is having to walk home.
Yes, this is James Lindsay basically saying it's okay when the U.S. does it, but oh no, oy vey, another country did it, now it's bad.
So that they would die in the ocean. If you did.
Well, they should. They were radical communists. I mean, if it happened, which it didn't, but if it did happen, the way that it was described, then they were radical communists who were trying to destroy the nation. That their whole goal was upset it. Which is a real thing because you've covered it all the time, James. The whole point was to destroy the nation via upsetting people by creating cultural distrust and upheaval. But no, we shouldn't throw the communists out of a helicopter. Okay, whatever.
Didn't know what helicopter rides are about. That's what it was about.
Okay.
So there is a proto-fascist wing. Some people are explicitly pro-fascist.
It's not
except one of the hardest things to
fascism.
tell, and one of the reasons why.
It's not fascism.
Some people are explicitly
That was
pro-fascist.
anarcho-capitalism.
Can you name me a single freaking fascist in any capacity? No, because they don't exist. There's no freaking fascists in the distant right.
Anyone who's right-wing enough to want to be a fascist has gone far past that point instantaneously and wants to be something way worse.
That in particular was not fascism. It was anarcho-capitalism. You're so fucked, James. You've just wound yourself up so much in your tight little ball.
If you're expecting this
background into being woke yourself.
If you're expecting to get through to him now after the merchant voice earlier, I think that ship may have sailed
yeah.
with slaves on board.
Yeah.
Why woke right might be the right term for these people, about this group, is it's almost impossible to ever tell when they're serious. Tucker Carlson is more obviously serious most of the time, but when we get into this further reach, this deeper end of the pool, we see, and Nick Fuentes seems extraordinarily serious all the time, but with these proto-fascists, we see an awful lot of postmodern, detached indifference. They're just memeing, they're just trolling, they're just putting out Hitler stuff to get a rise. They don't really mean it. But they also would definitely understand from an operational perspective that what they're doing is
Show it.
The Overton window. What they're doing is recruiting members to them under this idea of, well, if we're going to have free speech, let's test the absolute boundaries of it, but not so much in a random way, but in a very specific way that pushes certain ideas that people might not have thought of. And somewhere in the middle of this woke right, you'll find characters who are taking up with,
in the case of most academics.
Philosophers such as Carl Schmidt, who a lot of people aren't familiar with, they get very upset when it's
a
pointed out
lot
that
of
he was
people
given the
aren't
title.
familiar with Carl Schmidt.
Fuck that, Franz Schmidt.
No. Carl Schmidt is required reading if you want to be.
Isn't right.
Okay.
DR, you need to read Carl Schmidt. However, because his opinions on power, and I need to reread them. Hang on, I've read it a little bit, but I need to reread the books. I put them in person now, so that I can now highlight them. But
which means she's gonna ruin them.
No, they're new copies. They're not old copies.
No, when you highlight books, you ruin them.
Yes, because that's how I like to read books.
I ruin them.
But yes, coloring book. It makes it mine. It makes it mine forever. You know.
As someone who deals in rare esoteric books every now and then, Jesus Christ. Also, this is the only Schmidt you need in your library, Franz Schmidt.
Anyway, so yes, Schmidt is ascribed to being a Nazi. He's not a Nazi. Same as Evola is not a Nazi. So
Also,
shut up about this stuff.
Also,
and even if they were, why would it mean that they shouldn't be listened to?
Yeah.
Schmidt, you can have a way better argument for Schmidt as being a Nazi because he.
If you find someone repugnant socially, then all the more reason you should listen to them because they should be. You should deal with them with a certain manner of scrutiny. I think that's part of why they put people like Kamala forward who are so cringy they're impossible to watch because they can get the message across to the faithful with complete impunity because no one's going to sit through it.
You guys.
It creates a fucking pain response.
The chat apparently doesn't agree with highlighting books. In academia, it's like that's just how you're taught.
Well, in academia, you paid 180 quid for the privilege of the book already, so fucking you do whatever the fuck you like.
Well, that's why I did it.
But for most of us who want the literature to survive,
book, though, for forever, right? Like I've now written, and I write a bunch of notes.
Well, yeah, in the same way, if I buy a dog and shoot it in the head, it's now my dog forever. No one else will have it now.
No, but I write a bunch of notes in the margins so I can better understand it. It helps me remember books.
If I decide to myself to buy an owl from Rehabilitation Center,
you would hate, for example, seeing my copy of Into the Cannibals Pod because it's the same way I do all these other books. Is that I write notes all over the margins. I have highlighters all over the place. Yeah.
Yes, I would violate you if you did that.
But it's not. I'm not trying to give it to anyone else. It's my book.
I know, but it's still just not good book etiquette.
It's like
it's not. No, it is. I think it is good book etiquette.
No, it isn't. It's
my book. It's
I don't
my
care if
book.
It's yours.
Yes, actually, it's not degrading it. I think it's actually elevating it.
The second you put marks on a book, it ceases to be a book. It becomes a pamphlet or a pulp. Because you are treating it as a pulp. It becomes a disposable pamphlet of whatever you're doing it for.
Yes. It becomes now I, myself, and the book have more of a relationship.
No, it becomes your violation.
Annotation degrades the quality of the binding.
I disagree.
Agrees.
I completely disagree. I think that marking in it makes it my book and therefore makes it more important.
Yeah, we're not saying it doesn't make your book. Like it doesn't make it not your book.
It's like saying, if I spaff in the car, it's more mine. And yeah, because it's now related to me. That's not the fucking
That's not
point.
how it works. Yeah, the point is it degrades the book. It's not about who has ownership of it. It's just not how you treat a book. Doesn't matter who the owner is.
I think it's the opposite.
It's because you're weirdo.
No, I think that the more that you read through a book, like when you look, you go to someone's house, they have a book where the spine is worn out. You know that person has read that book over and over and over again, right?
Also tells me they're fat because they sit on it.
No.
What are those kinds of assholes who, like, when they are reading a book and want to save the place, they just place it like both pages open on a flat surface with the weight of it holding down into the spine, degrading the fucking thing.
It happened to me, like with my original copy that I had of The Witcher, the first book of the Witcher franchise. I read it so many times that at one point it just fell out of the
Aiden likes
binding.
to customize books. Yeah, it's a little bit what
Essentially, I do. Anyway, let's go back to this. Sorry.
The title under Hitler's regime of the crown jurist of the Third Reich. He was a he was trying to stop Hitler from his rise before Hitler took the chancellery, I should say, in 1933, and that's true. And he seemed to be anti-communist and anti-fascist at the same time up to that point. But Hitler got power in 1933, and within weeks, Carl Schmidt was a Nazi, and he never recanted.
Oh my God, he did recant. Just shut up. You're actually now just telling a lie, James. Carl Schmidt did recant. More or less, you can debate about whether or not there's a recantation or not, but he did say he was... Carl Schmidt was the philosopher, my dude.
Of any of that. And, you know, they like to point to the complicated historical contingencies that led him to take this choice by...
Yeah! Wow! You think that he might have been forced to become a Nazi? Because he was? In the culture? I don't... What people are trying to give...
Become a Nazi or you might die. Like, yeah, that's kind of an easy choice for a lot of people.
And then people are trying to give historical... Yeah, dude. They're trying to put historical context into it, James. And you are someone who should understand that about Carl Schmidt. And even if you didn't understand that, even if you... Let's say he was the biggest fucking Nazi ever. Does it make his philosophy wrong? Can you debunk what he actually said? No, you can't.
Oh, and that's no one mentioned in this.
And guess what? All these people like trying to shit on these philosophers because they operated in, you know, Nazi-controlled Germany. Where were these people when all those like 20s, 30s, 40s French philosophers were trying to sign a document together to get the French government to abolish the age of consent? Because they were nonsense to a man.
Yep.
Yes,
I don't hear anyone talking shit about the fucking mid-20th century French philosophers who were all pedophiles.
Yeah, no.
But they'll talk a lot of shit because someone got fucking strong-armed into the Nazi party.
Yep.
But that's no small choice.
Michael Foucault, who was pro the...
Foucault is not someone you want to side up with. Anywho, the point is... both disgusting pedophiles, to be honest. Foucault and Derrida.
But Carl Schmitt's main philosophical ideas that they're in favor of, that he's put forth, are two. One is called the unbound executive. The executives should be unbound, or else they are not sovereign. Sovereign means that you are not bound, say, by rule of law. So they want an executive who isn't bound by a limitation on power.
This is, calm down. First of all, this is not an idea espoused by Carl Schmitt. This goes to like Robert Filmer and Thomas Hobbes. Like, this is like over 350 fucking years old, James.
Yes.
This is not a new idea.
But this is not Schmidt.
That goes back to the rules of kings.
Yes,
like,
this is
so
old. And by the way, it's correct. Is it? Oh my God. Okay.
This is what Royal French absolutism was founded on. What the hell are you talking about?
Oh my God! Is it the whole idea is that yes, the king is held to a different standard than the democracy?
Because the king is held by God.
Oh my goodness!
Who can do what needs to be done in order to fight back their enemies, who in this case are primarily
the most important thing, to protect the kingdom. Which is why democracy fails.
Do you have any idea how Pinochet came to power?
But he's saying it's better to have a system that it does not involve protecting the rights of the kingdom.
But I mean, like
the rights of the land.
He talks about Pinochet being fascistic. I don't know when the hell does anyone think Pinochet is fascistic?
I think that some things that Pinochet said could be conceived of as fascistic, but it would be difficult to.
He wasn't corporate. He wasn't corporate.
They're libertarian.
He was just a despot.
Yes, they're
so I don't really consider him fascistic in that regard.
I'm saying you could maybe try to make the argument.
Yeah, but the way that Pinochet came to power was he went through military dictatorship, and this was approved by the people. The people wanted him to fucking take power. Like I had a Chilean friend, and I said to her, and she's quite based, and I actually said to her, "What is your people's history with Pinochet?" And her reply was basically, "He saved us from the communists." So for them as a trade-off, like, who would I rather have, communist or based Pinochet? To many people, they prefer Pinochet.
Yeah.
As they say, communist, but they also explicitly blame classical liberals, as did Carl Schmitt, for many.
Well, because it's your fault.
It's true.
Classical liberals are some of the most
idealistic morons.
No, harmful people in society because they portray themselves as neutral while they're anything but.
Any of the ills of society. It's a very
when I
common
level that
belief
at
in
the
this circle.
Swedes, I get in trouble.
Yeah.
Not that it necessarily agrees with Carl Schmidt, that in fact communism or Marxism is an outgrowth of classical liberalism, which
it is.
Because it is.
James. You know that it is. You know this is true. Is that liberalism, the modern liberalism, is not classical liberalism as in the Greek system, but everything that has occurred since is an outgrowth, not of communism directly, but of the same thread as it. It is not. Modern liberalism is not Greek liberalism. You know this, but you still maintain this lie. This is insane.
An ounce of lie out of an expert's fucking mouth is worth 10 tons of bullshit out of the common man's.
I don't think washes any more than the confusion about the different Scottish common sense realism versus the continental Enlightenment. I think it's equally confused. The second.
Okay, can I just debunk this very easily? If you were to just look at any civilization, it's always hierarchical based on some other variable, right? Any society is like this, right? It's usually based on corruption, the more communistic ones, even though it's supposed to be the eradication of class. Class is hierarchy.
Yes.
So you're asking, communism is a fairy tale of we're going to wipe out the basic structure of all mammals, which is absurd. Like, that's just not how human beings ever work. Humans are always hierarchical. That's just how mammals are wired. So that doesn't work, which means in any civilization, communism is always going to be a present threat because it's trying to wipe out the natural structure of man with a fantasy. That's why it is always a threat. And the thing that James doesn't want to recognize is that in any civilization, once it's multicultural, you're going to have to ask, what is the reason why particular groups are at the top? In European societies, because Europeans are the apex. Yeah. And not every group is going to be in the hierarchy. You want to ask which group is in charge, like which group make the best managers for your society. Because it's like saying if we had a business and the board can call the top 10 managers on the upper echelons of the business, are the people below suddenly going to galvanize and behave without the CEO's instructions there? No, it's going to capitulate. So you always need that group. That group is always going to be Europeans because they're the ones who make society. In any civilization, the tribe, once at the top, they're going to be nepotistic and they're going to recruit their fucking own, right? That's why any society that does not have Europeans at the helm, once the Europeans leave, they try to fill that manager role, and they don't know why that role needs to exist because they never had it with their civilizations. This is why his idea of a European-led society without Europeans at the top doesn't fucking work because that structure was made by Europeans. And if anyone else wants to learn it, they're going to displace the top people of the group. And the Europeans don't want that because they don't want to be displaced.
Again, go look at countries where Europeans just left.
Yes, look at any country where the colonials left. The only ones that stood standing are the ones that had Europeans replace the power structure.
Who had already built the infrastructure.
Yes, which would be South Africa, Canada, New Zealand, Australia,
some parts
and
of
America.
South America. Yeah, some parts.
And, the only thing in
South
America,
of Dust.
Yeah, the only thing in South America that worked was built by the Spanish.
Yes.
Once the Spanish fucked off, it just crumbled.
Then it's done.
Europeans who build, if the people who come into the civilization make the civilization, you're asking these people who've never had these structures, you now need to run this machine that you never made. That doesn't work.
You don't know how to fix. And what happened immediately in Empire of Dust, as we talked about, what happened immediately after the Europeans left, they went and stripped it for the raw materials. Now, I want to try to get through this so we can get into the Trump thing.
Oh, yeah, the guy actually says to him, you didn't learn from the Europeans.
Yeah, you didn't learn how to fix the railroads.
Yeah, because they don't understand this.
And they just say, like, we don't know how to get the stuff from the mine to the place that it's refined.
Yeah, because
it's like, well, you had a railroad, and they said, well, we tore the railroad up.
Yeah, but that's what
can't even make fucking live leak videos anymore.
Just saying, like, that's what he admits to the guy in the video. He's like, in the movie, he's like, Well, we destroyed the railroad.
You see,
we ripped it up.
Like, these functions, these organs of government are part of a civilization structure. It's part of the advancement of several centuries. And you're asking these people, catch up to us without any of the reasons how you go from point A to point B. You must just now need to be at point B because we are. They're not going to take to that just because you tell them to. They need to, like, this is going to sound cruel, but you need to have these people under an iron heel and whipped.
Bro, can't
because if you give them freedom, they're not going to
anything. They don't even know how the railroad works.
Yeah,
these people
never needed it.
Genuinely do not understand how the steam engine works. They're just like, how you put it, it's magic to them.
Yes.
Anywho, let's continue. Let's try to get through this, and then I will get all the super chats at the end.
Second of,
and then we'll move into the Donald Trump thing.
Carl Schmitt's big ideas that he puts forth is called the friend-enemy distinction, and that's its own whole.
I like to get through this to the top of the hour.
Oh, this bit
James
is
Lindsay
really
is about
funny.
to display that he doesn't understand the friend-enemy distinction, which is unbelievable. But oh my god!
Cover me. I'm going to excuse myself for a few minutes to use the
topic. A long podcast to get into, and I don't want to drag this out. But the friend-enemy distinction effectively says that in politics, at the end of the day, it all boils down, just like how in morality it all boils down to good versus evil, and in epistemology it all boils down to truth.
As in your own research, you cite all the time, as in John Haidt's research that you cite constantly. Yes.
True versus false, and in ethics it all boils down to right versus wrong, and in aesthetics it all boils down to beautiful versus ugly. In politics it all boils down to friend versus enemy. So it's all.
It's Jonathan Haidt's research. It is friend versus enemy. We have the capacity to determine if someone is a friend or an enemy.
James, what the hell are you doing in this very video?
No, he wants to. Well, he wants to establish that he's part of a certain friend group that we are not a part of.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the premise of this entire fucking video is the friend-enemy distinction. You absolute
it's
idiot.
doing it in action. Isn't it astonishing, right?
All about mutually. Well, I don't know how to say this grammatically. It is all about polarized groups with mutual enmity that defines the political process, where the enmity is given as the division between friends and enemies, and an enemy is defined as a person or group that wishes to end your way of life. And
that's literally all of human history, what you're describing, James.
Humans fight for resources. By the way, wants to end your way of life right now.
Yes. What do you think shoving all of this, like, freaking LGBT shit in your fucking games is? That's a form of conquering.
It wants to end your way of life. Now, do we want to end their way of life? Yes. However, we're correct. That's the difference. We're trying to, make sure that humanity survives. It propagates. Their desire is to destroy humanity and kill the whole species. So I think that we're winning. We should win, maybe, out of the two.
And friends are people who are willing to die in order to defend that with you. And Carl Schmitt's belief, and I disagree with it, I think in a sophisticated way, I've taken the time to study it.
Tell me.
Carl Schmitt's view is that at the end of the day, all politics boils down to the friend-enemy distinction, and that his critique of classical liberalism, which is not based on the misunderstanding of the Enlightenment tradition, his critique of liberalism as a political philosophy is that liberalism removes the political from politics by trying to by taking violence off of the table, because the friend.
Yes, and Schmidt's correct.
That is what it does, though.
Enemy line is always underwritten by violence. So when you remove violence from the equation entirely, all you're left with is talking.
This is why I will not say that people call James Lindsay a retard. He's not. He's able to understand Carl Schmitt. He got the point. He just he can't figure out the outcome.
And talking, and that prevents you from being able to stop an enemy who's sufficiently intolerant. But he says that this is rather than saying that this is a hard question of the paradox of tolerance, which is what I believe it actually is, he answers that this is an intrinsic internal contradiction of liberalism that makes it unworkable.
Yes, it is. Because it is. It makes it intolerable. You can't. How are you supposed to work around this, James? How? How do you work around this?
You do realize, James, your entire worldview is based on a certain amount of tolerance, and once someone wants to exercise violence, your entire worldview goes to fuck.
But he's saying, no, but we have to find a way to make it
the violence that is enacted upon us within my liberal worldview, we have to make it make sense. It will never make sense because it is an intrinsic factor of your worldview. See, you can't make it make sense in the way that you want it to. Carl Schmidt owned your ass, dude.
It's very common to find somewhere in this woke right spectrum, also usually adjacent to the people who are big fans of Carl Schmidt, but not always.
Dude, Carl Schmidt owned your ass so bad. Do not try to read Kunal Leiden. I'd love for you to try to, but don't.
But not always overlapping, is so-called Straussians, who are followers of the philosophy of Leo Strauss. I'm not going to get into Straussianism, not because...
No, you aren't getting into Straussianism because you couldn't even understand fucking... this is unbelievable. You couldn't understand anything. So why just give up?
Not for any better reason that I don't actually know it very deeply yet. I know some broad themes, but Strauss seems, in my opinion, to reinvigorate a dialectical approach to the movement of history, talking about it moving in waves or phases that incorporate...
If you can't understand Schmidt, why are you doing this? Silly.
Past phases and transform them to a new form, and I'm immediately skeptical of that. But the Straussians have profoundly deep criticisms of classical liberalism that I think are misguided, and I've heard some of those criticisms, but that's not what it's for. But I've given this broad...
We've already ignored everyone else's criticisms, so I don't know why I should take these ones seriously.
Mixture of views that fit in the woke right, and this is...
To be honest, I'm not familiar with this line of...
reasoning?
Are you from... Do you know the people who he's talking about right now?
Strauss? I've heard of Strauss, but I'm not familiar with his philosophy.
Yeah, I'm not from it. Well, that might be my problem.
My biggest issue with this is he's not saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's just mentioning names, and he's just saying, well, these people believe in this school, these people believe in that school, these people are fascist. But I would like to ask him, what do you think society should galvanize around? Number one, what do you think the state should be able to do? And what is governing the state's morality? Because unless you tell me these three fucking things, anything you tell me now is complete bullshit. You're not telling me anything about how people should behave, who leads them, and what is the state able to do. This is just word salad.
Yeah.
I return. Has the spastic started making more sense or less?
Less.
This is parallel to how the woke left both was, especially before, we'll use 2014 and 15 as the marker, especially before then, but also still afterwards. You have kind of milquetoast progressives who think they're just doing the right thing. You have old hippies from the old civil rights era. You also have hardened communists and very radical actors. You also have some just kind of left-wing anarchists. You have this very...
This is how... It's very interesting. So... Excuse me. Okay. So... There's something called worldview defense theory, which is what's happening to James Lindsay here. James Lindsay and people like him, like Dev, they have this worldview that is that the liberal hegemony is perfect. It's the most amazing, perfect thing that has ever existed. Liberal hegemony. And anything that affects it in any negative way is the greatest evil that's also ever existed. That's, of course, all insane. It's not how things work, but it's how they feel about things. So, it's very difficult to deal with people like this, who are based completely on emotions. Well, it's hard to deal with them. But James Lindsay used to, in my opinion, not be someone who is a totally emotional wreck. But that's what he's doing. And the reason why he can't move out of that is, like I said, it's worldview defense theory, where they literally cannot look, if they see something that contradicts their worldview, they will just forget that it exists. I'm not joking. Their psyche will protect themselves from being able to even remember that it existed. Information that was contradictory to their worldview.
That doesn't seem like a sane people.
Unfortunately, Spoon, it's like a large majority of people.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know.
Who they because if their worldview is affected and offended,
they will just forget it intentionally. That's what we're seeing here. Intentional forgetting.
Kind of broad, messed up coalition. You also have basically kind of a deracinated or a subverted liberal as a generic member of this woke left who's taken on woke ideals, even though if you were to pin them down, they don't actually agree with them. It's a very broad concept, but we still have this notion of a label called woke that fits them. And the reason that we adopt woke, from my perspective, isn't just because they used it as a slang term for themselves, then we took it up, which is true, but is also because it's very descriptive of what's going on. And what's going on in the woke left is that they believe that they have woken up to a belief or a structure, a hidden structure to how society is organized and operates. In other words, I'm analyzing and using the word woke at the level of operating system, how it runs. And what they believe is they've woken up to the true nature of reality, which is that powerful groups, powerful interest groups have lied to the world about how the world works.
No. Oh my God, Lindsay, you
left.
fucked up
He
your
means
own
the
paradigm.
He means the left. He's correct in that sense.
But he's fucked up his own paradigm.
No, he's correct in that sense. He's describing the left. That is what they think. That part is true.
Then you're not familiar with his own paradigm, which is that actually there are these quote-unquote secret organizations.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That is correct. Just their solution is shit. Lefties are quite good at this. They can diagnose, but they suck at solution.
Yeah, okay. All right, sure.
And everybody is misled and operating under a false consciousness, but they have woke up to this and have done the analysis and presented an alternative view of how the world really proceeded in history and works in theory and in practice, and they act upon that awakened status that other people outside don't have, and they claim the basis of their epistemic authority from knowing the true hidden history. And this is the key point that makes it woke. You woke up to that which they have hidden from you. And for them, with CRT, the white people hid the true history of race and racism and its true practice and purpose. For Marxists, the bourgeois class is hidden.
Pause. Whoever wrote this thing he's reading already agrees with you. So they're repeating your dogma. So why are you acting like, oh, I discovered something?
Of economics and social organization to their own benefit from the proletariat. And we could go down the list. I think that 2 examples are sufficient. Maybe we could do queer theory. The normal have hidden the true nature of normalcy and legitimacy from the abnormal or deviant or queer to their exclusion from the fruits of society and so on and so forth. And thus they become the awakened revolutionary vanguard, and they know how society actually works, and they claim an epistemic authority over others who are not trapped in that so-called false consciousness that they, the powers, the ruling classes, have installed in them. And my contention is that the entire spectrum of people that I described on the woke right are not merely providing different conservative theories about how the world
about one
works,
thing, a spectrum is involved.
Again, so he's looking at like fucking tweets that I like, such as the ones that I just showed to you guys, and having to fucking melty over it. Yeah, sorry, Lindsay. Sorry, James. We're going to continue to actually do work and not just hypothesize endlessly and baselessly. Sorry.
Those are, relatively mainstream conservative paleo conservatism like Tucker Carlson, or those are a little less mainstream like the Straussians or like Burke. Or if they're rather extreme, like taking up with Julius Evola or proto-fascists or Franco or whatever else you want, or whatever the hell Nick Fuentes is doing. And, there's a variety of other views in between.
At least he didn't call Evola a fascist.
He did.
He did earlier, but, so.
What they all share in common is that they, whether it's the intelligence apparatus, whether it's the Jews, whoever it is, have actually hidden reality from us, and they have awakened or woke up to that true reality and a true alternative theory of how the world works and operates, and they claim epistemic authority that they can use to advance their cause and silence others in order to push it forward. Terms that attach to these people can be anything from America First, which is complicated because it means other things, but also post-liberal. A post-liberal right would be okay.
What it's gonna be, America First means America fucking first. Stop trying to make it a fascist dog whistle. James, you are on the side of Kamala Harris at this point.
I see this as a non-American myself. It should be first and last and only for the Yanks.
You are just a Kamala Harris.
The thing that I don't get is I don't know if you've noticed this, but the fascists were not exactly isolationists.
Nope, they weren't.
And if you look at the America First crowd, it's Israel can fuck off, stop buying our politicians, and we don't want to get in forever wars. I don't see how that is in any way
No
But he wants to get into more
brother
forever
wars.
wars.
Yes.
He wants more forever wars.
Yeah,
Except it's
why is that bad?
kind of too many.
Well,
Wars
that's
forever
good
and brother.
Because Israel is our greatest ally.
No, it isn't.
We must protect Israel and
Israel is a
Israel's
fucking parasite.
secondary state, Ukraine.
Syllables. Nobody really
But we can't explain how Israel actually does control Ukraine, because that would be bad if people knew about that.
Please pay no
knows what
attention
liberal
to
means.
all the Hebrew road signs.
Oh no, it'd be terrible if people knew about how Israel actually controls Ukraine. That would be terrible.
post
Which
is
is always a
confusing
bad-
and there's a
good thing
hyphen.
to see,
That's
you know.
usually not a good.
Whoopsie poopsie.
Middle,
I shouldn't
Middle
have said
Eastern
that on
nationals
stream.
who literally own the breadbasket of Europe, and that is.
Oh, I'm gonna get in so
nickname
much
of that
trouble for saying the damn
Alright.
truth. Whatever.
Well, we need to get through this
for a-
tripe so we can actually get to the
post-liberal
podcast
right
we're meant
feels
to be
like
doing.
regressive left to me, and it's
You can watch the fucking Trump
to me,
interview.
and it's descriptive, sort of, and is not going to stick. But they are, in general, skeptical of, if not outright hostile to, liberalism writ large, but also including American liberalism, and also frequently, therefore, including the Constitution. And I'm not saying, just to be very clear, that Tucker Carlson
James, you are such a fucking moron. James, you're gonna get so fucking. I'm not even gonna really attack you on this. You were talking about don't talk about it. It's part of the Constitution to not talk about things that I don't like. No. Homie, no.
Carlson hates the Constitution with this. I'm just saying that he's somewhere in the, we'll call it a rainbow, the spectrum of woke right views, many of which, perhaps not his, and likely perhaps not his, do not
I don't want people's opinions to be shared. That's part of the Constitution. No, it's not. Holy shit.
include disdain or giving up on the Constitution as it is. But because they feel as though there is an oppressive power out there that has hidden the real truth from us, the epistemic authority of all woke comes from the belief that that which has been hidden from us is most true. That which they don't want us to think or believe is most true. That
true.
which is most sincerely held.
Well, show that it's not true, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is just like theories, but there's no
Yeah, but
exaltation
show
of
that they're
why
not
any of that is
right.
wrong.
Illustrate that they're wrong. Illustrate how they are wrong.
Just like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, in faith is likely to be more true than that which is less sincerely held, because they think that this is all done cynically by the power. So sincerity becomes a measurement of truth, but more importantly, that which has been hidden from them, that which they don't want us to know. The problem with that, just to make it very clear, is nobody wants to know wrong information, and nobody in a position of educational power wants anybody to know wrong information if it can be avoided. Of course, we all have wrong information, but the idea is to minimize how wrong we are, not maximize it. We all are.
Illustrate, definitionalize wrongness.
They're right, by the way, in that they don't trust our lying, manipulative, mostly Marxist expert class or self-serving expert class. They're right in that. But the thing is
why do we don't trust them, James?
there are ideas out there that they don't want us to know, or that they disagree with, or label misinformation because they are wrong, and then there are ones that they actually are trying to suppress because they are right. And you can't use they criticize you for believing this as a litmus test, because it applies to both of those things. You could believe something genuinely crazy, or that is genuinely a foreign influence operation, and the powers that be will say you shouldn't believe that, and you could also believe something that is absolutely true.
Did he just say foreign influence?
Yes.
He means Russia, didn't he?
Yeah.
About, say, mRNA vaccines or gene therapies, that they will.
Seriously, you win COVID conspiracy, James? Seriously?
Yep, sure
Bit
did.
late,
also say you shouldn't.
Bit late in the party for fucking Sambuca, isn't it?
By the way,
gonna go.
And so you don't have a sufficient litmus test. In other words, they have a very impoverished.
Or McIntyre had a really good point. He said James Lindsay is basically just Sam Harris.
Yeah, at this point,
And
he's
that is
trying
such
to
a good
become
fucking
Sam
line.
Harris. Yes,
And it is true.
And-
These are just
Yep.
people that once they are confronted with genuine right-wing people, like their mind just shatters.
No, it doesn't, because I've spoken to Dr. Lindsay. We've known each other for years. I don't know what the hell happened to him. It's not like we didn't know each other. We knew each other as individuals, I think, for years. We weren't like besties.
You sound like you're
but,
describing an ex-boyfriend right now, by the way.
No, I'm saying, like, he knew that, like, I wasn't like a lunatic, right?
Are you sure?
Why would he talk to me otherwise, right? If I was
he
like
might
some
be a
kind of,
lunatic right now.
if I was a crazy person, why would he talk to me?
Like for like.
Yeah. Anyway, let's finish this, and then let's go into
Birds
the
of a
nun
feather.
Flock together.
Epistemology, and their epistemology leads, which is the theory of knowledge,
Oh.
and that leads their bid or claim for authority, and they then proceed in the usual way that the woke proceed. I didn't even get into all the parallels, by the way: victim culture, manipulation of language, outright lying, lies that would be fact-checked as misleading, radical splintering, wedge operations. You go down the list, but the orientation toward victimhood by this power that's suppressing a truth that they've woken up to, and the measurement of that truth is that's what they don't want you to believe is the hallmark characteristic, and why I've called them the woke right. This podcast has already gone too long, so I'm going to wrap it up.
Hey, James, question for you. Just out of curiosity, are Europeans allowed to have their own homeland?
No, I doubt he would
If
think
you,
that's
I will take you seriously when you grow a pair of balls and admit that. Until then, you
Yeah.
can fuck off, Jew boy.
Yeah, I would like that answer from him as well.
And
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, I want to see any of these people that say anything that's pro-Israel. Let me ask you people. Do you think the Europeans are entitled to their own homeland? If the answer is no, assume
Then
they're an
our
Israeli
Jews.
shill.
Yeah. Then our
Every
Jews.
single one of them is somehow either blackmailed or paid off by the Israeli state. Because the moment you say that, you get branded a fascist. That is how this works in this paradigm.
100%. Yep.
All I'm
Very
saying with
nice
this
one.
podcast is that this exists. It is at least partially extraordinarily.
Okay, he just.
You haven't actually said anything, James. Like you
Waffle
said-
and faff and fucking. So thank God, because I was listening to this and there was nothing of
For
substance
the
in my
next
ears.
4 minutes, he just goes off on it. So,
Waffling on about
let's-
bullshit.
Let's just watch the Trump debate, shall we?
You want to put the thing on because you have the link, and you went all weird thingy on it.
Oh, there. Okay, here it is. Oh. Okay,
While
so
Aiden
here's
is trying
the
to
thing.
find the link, we're
Is
going to
it
do funny noises.
actually, you can't. It's a hard time to find this video now.
Why?
No, oh no, oh wait, no, I made a whole thing. Hang on. Made a whole new video because I was worried about copyright.
And yes, I am
And it's
based. I
being
am
very
way more
weird.
based behind the
Okay.
scenes, by the way. By the way, let me tell all of you guys a little
Oh,
secret here
Halloween
because I'm familiar with probably some of your favorite content creators. Every single one of them
Okay.
is way more based than you guys know.
All right, I have to go have a pee real quick. I have to go have.
Why
a
do you
piss.
tell us that, Aiden?
Just excuse yourself and say I will be using the facilities. You know, like exactly.
I'll
what I
be
said
right
earlier.
back. It'll take 1 second. Be right back.
Yes, you could just say, allow me to alleviate myself.
Excuse
for a
myself.
moment." Yes. Well, you need to train her to sound more aristocratic when it comes to relieving herself.
No, there's only so much teaching a man can do.
I suppose.
I've already basically been like co-authored in as an ad hoc physiotherapist. It's not exactly my neck of the woods, you know.
Well,
If it wasn't for the fact that my family are a long line of faith healers, I would never even manage to get the muscles to work properly again.
Has it really been that much of a challenge?
That's a tricky business. It's working with lymphatic systems. You kind of need to figure out where to like shove thumbs.
And what might kill her or knock her unconscious.
Yeah, I'm trying not to cause an embolism.
Yeah, because if you do, you're like, oh fuck, there's more work to do.
Yeah, acupressure's an absolute motherfucker at the best times. It's really fucking tiring too. How much grip strength do you think you need to get through a muscle?
Well, with Aiden, I imagine probably not much.
Yeah, but it's doing so without breaching a fucking vein or a nerve.
Oh yeah, in her case. Yeah.
It's like
In her case, it's like, how much damage can you do, maybe?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Well, at a certain point, bones start to give out.
Oh yeah.
At a certain point of grip strength, you just need to be careful with that kind of shit.
Aiden has the bone strength of a fucking piece of noodle.
Pot noodle cover.
Okay, I'm back. Ready?
Greetings, noodle body.
Okay, but hey, that sounds like you guys have been having a nasty conversation while I was away having a pee-pee.
Bill and I only have nasty conversations. It's kind of our MO.
Ree.
If
Anyway,
Bill and I are ever nice to people, something is going horribly wrong.
here's a Joe Rogan experience. With Donald Trump. It was a Halloween theme, so it won't get. Look, the reason I'm doing this is again, because I don't want to get claimed. Because I hate getting claimed. It just makes it annoying for me.
If this podcast actually gets us like 10 grand, we'll shell up money to get an AI developed that will take in any interview we put into it and convert it into an Australian accent. Then we can have the Joe Bogan podcast.
The Joe Bogan podcast would be amazing, but
It would just be an extension of the Big Les show at a certain point.
I've
What if Mike
up.
Knowles had?
I've sped it up a little bit. I'm not going to speed it down because this is the best way I think we can get away with it. I've also put some Halloween stuff. Happy Halloween, everybody! Let's go!
Happy Halloween. Nearly. It's like 11 o'clock.
Is it? Oh, fucking no. Aiden, where are you playing this thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't play it. Oh, oops.
Helps if you share your screen, you numpty.
I'm only a little bit R-worded.
Oh, you can hear the excitement that the weed kicks in, can't you?
No,
Her cadence shifts.
Tell me when you tell me when you've got the thing.
What are you showing it?
It's in the streaming. Not the watch together stream.
Oh.
The stream within the stream.
Yeah, it's got like pumpkins on it and everything. You can see it.
Oh, hold on.
It's purple lucky.
Look, this isn't
There we
even
go.
my fault. Okay, let's go.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
All right, we're rolling. Good to see you, sir. Here we go.
Jesus Christ!
One of the things
Baron
I wanted to
Harkonnen's
talk to you about,
like.
I wanted to play this.
What, you have a problem with my overlay?
It looks like, you know that scene where Baron Harkonnen rises out of the fucking black slime that's regenerating him?
Yeah.
It looks like that, but continuously.
Let's go.
But we decided we shouldn't play it because it could get copyright strike, and we don't want to get the episode.
That's why I'm doing this way. That's why I'm doing this thing my own way. Yeah.
We don't want anybody to have any sort of way to get it down.
Sure.
But it was the episode of you when you were on The View, and I think it was 2015 or 2006, like when you were running for president.
Shit! Right? Actually, hang on. I did say I'm gonna read the super chats. But before this next big portion, sorry. Let me read the super chats. Minnesota Fats, who has been a member for 21 months, says Happy Halloween, boss. Spoon and
This
Bill.
show's been going on
if
for
you're
almost 2 years.
I know.
Fuck me,
There's
Dad.
a Dragon Age tabletop RPG that's decent and for a non-D20 system. I highly recommend it. I have looked into that actual RPG. Horwitz, 5 Wicked Horwitz for 10 says what happened to the Canary Crown crew. They were raped, to be honest.
They were violated
Forbidden Cat
by
Valley for 2
homosexuals.
says Dragon Age Origins was too gay for me. I play Baldur's Gate 3. And I play Baldur's Gate 3. Corvas for €2 says Savi has it already. It's a trish. DRT's King for 10 says Dragon Age 2 is the best game with the best cast. The fact that Meryl's voice actor swore off video games acting saves her from the rest of this BS. Meryl is the best romance in Dragon Age. Fight me. I will fight you over that, but we'll do that later, DRT.
Alistair apologist.
Yes, I am an Alistair apologist.
I never
Exilla for
romanced
2.
Alistair, so...
Oh, it's the best. Exilla for 2 says, my favorite card is Invoke Prejudice. No reason. I can't imagine why. Friend. Captain Furlaw for 2 Canadian says, Bruvok the Grandiloquent for best Mill Commander. Yeah. Really good commander there. Woolgreath for 2 says, Mill Players. I wish to be a 1-player game. Yeah. I mean, that do be how it is. Minnesota Fats for 5 says the answer simple. Simple boss. Dr. Lindsay still believes in the little Shakespearean myth of the milk of human kindness. Yeah, he does. In other words, stupid. Good. Yes. Stupid good. Kizza for 5 says woke right equals Homo Trotsky. Remember this fact, my wonderful subjects. Also, can I say that Adam Befriended is a pansy who needs to pack up and leave the West? Maybe. Slosher for 20 Canadian says, One of my proudest moments on X was getting James to reply to me because I called him a containment fig. I mean,
It's because
yeah.
he is.
I would imagine that would piss him off pretty badly, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I actually haven't blocked. He blocked me.
He's astonishingly not blocked me.
See if I'm blocked. I hope I am.
He might after tonight.
James, can I just say, if you block her but not me, you're a bitch.
Because of her
Am I the only one that's
£5.
blocked, by the way?
I'm checking now.
I'm not
I've been blocked
James
on
and I
2
used to be
accounts.
friends. James and I used to be friends, man.
No, I'm not blocked at all. In fact, well, to be fair, I'm the stealth I'm the stealth profile on this place. I've only got 700 followers.
Because of her £5, though, says James doesn't know Giovanni Gentile is the founder of fascism. It is merely Italian socialism. People are so sub 80 IQ. Yeah, I know. And Linda Hunter became a member for 4 months. Night, hard bastards, and gave me a helicopter musical ride. Happy face at the end. Thank you. Yes.
That sentence sounded like I was experiencing a stroke firsthand.
Frog Jupiter for 2 said, "Did you hear about Vegan Gain's vegan cat dying?" No, I didn't, but I'm not surprised by that. Thank you, friend. The Supreme Emperor, because of her
Does he actually have a vegan cat? No, he fucking doesn't.
But no, there's no such thing. Who wants to tell James that all fascists he names are Republicans, and he's a Republican by definition? Yeah, I know. Binary Clips for 5 Aussies, I think, says, "I can confirm that Mr. Lindsay is a subversive agent,
Bill, what's your
considering
Twitter
all
account?
I see from him."
Oh, hang on, I'll send it to you directly. It's a bastard to find because I misspelled it when I got the URL.
Oh, there you go.
I'm convinced that Mr. Lindsay is a subversive agent, considering all I see him do is advocate pacifism and apathy. Yes, I agree.
I've seen other people in the chat wanting to see my Twitter. Spoon will probably retweet some bullshit I post soon, and you can go from there.
You want me to link it in chat?
Legitimately had an issue with him doing
go for
that
it.
and tried to kind of assuage it. I couldn't do anything.
Listen, you can lead a Lindsay the water, but you can't make him drink.
Yeah. For $10 says
You can if you tell him the water isn't fascist.
Said about 234 people were actually given helicopter rides in Chile. This was mostly done to Soviet agents and leaders, so they would be not be findable. Yes, as I've described.
Why is that bad?
That was necessarily done by the Pinochet.
Base mi general. Yes.
Well, you gotta remember, Pinochet was backed by the CIA, who we know used to do things like that, but Pinochet's regime themselves never did.
Yeah. Lucy Lemonbug
far as I'm aware, at
gifted
least.
5 memberships. I did see that earlier. Thank you so much,
Lucy's good
Lucy.
people. I like Lucy.
Ardent Party for 10 Canadians says classical liberalism elevates individuals over the collective. Marxism does the reverse, but neither chooses correct collective to denigrate/venerate the excited family and/or the people, which monarchy does. Very true, Ardent. Slosher for 5 Canadians says the friend-enemy distinction is fake, and anyone who disagrees is a fascist. That is essentially what
yeah, pretty much
what he was saying there. Finally, TK for 10 says, in addition to worldview defense, high IQ people take more contradictory information to admit that they are wrong over low IQ people. Yes, very much so. Because of that extra bandwidth that allows them to cope harder. Yep, very true. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Completely correct. Let's get into this silly video, shall we? As much as we can get through.
And you got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy.
By the way, just to be clear, every leftist media outlet is having a fucking meltdown over the fact that this happened. How dare he? You platformed a fascist. Blah blah blah. I'm having a melty. We get it. Who cares? Here it is.
Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you. They were all talking about how you're you might be conservative in your financial positions, but you're very liberal socially. They were talking about you in such a favorable light. The audience was cheering. And then you actually started winning in the polls, and then the machine started working towards you.
Yeah.
But there's probably no one in history that I've ever seen that's been attacked the way you've been attacked and the way they've done it, so coordinated and systematically. When you see those same people in the past, very favorable to you, like Oprah, when you were on Oprah's show,
very.
She was encouraging you.
Last week I did one of her last shows, I think maybe Thursday or Friday. That was a big deal being on Oprah's show, the last one. And I was like one of the last shows in that final week. And I said, boy, we've come a long way since that.
What was it like?
Well, the concept, it was really like two different lives. You know, I had a very wonderful life, but I wanted to do this. The Apprentice was still going very strong. We had 12 seasons, and we had actually 14 seasons, 12 years over. They had a couple.
Well,
of
they
them.
canceled The Apprentice when you were running for
Nobody
president. Correct?
cares.
No, they had Arnold Schwarzenegger do it. I was involved in that. Paul Telegny, all the top people came over to see me, try and talk me out of it because they wanted to have me extend. The Apprentice was doing well, so it was 14 seasons. It was 12 years. We had 2 seasons where we had a double, which rarely happens. It was just a hot show. And I said, you know, I got them done. I had some very good successes. And I
skip through this, but we'll skip through Lindsay's tripe.
This part's stupid. I'm gonna fucking flying fart about The Apprentice.
And stop pausing it then. Just let
ear.
it fly.
You would know that better than anyone. When they get the ear torn up.
Ears bleed a lot, yeah.
Bleed. Anyway, so, and I was thinking the other day, when that happened, I really knew where I was. I knew exactly what happened. I said I wasn't hit anywhere else. With the presidency, it was a very surreal experience, okay?
Like, what's day one like? You win?
Yeah.
You get inaugurated?
I'm sorry, I didn't know you
So
you
I'm
cared,
driving down
Nelthina.
Pennsylvania
I'm sorry, Nelthina.
Avenue. I just built a building on Pencil. You know, the hotel, the old post office it was. We called it Trump National Hotel. And we sold it to the Waldorf Astoria. And it was a wonderful thing. But I'm driving down.
Aiden's belligerently high.
You've never seen so many motorcycles, police, military. You know, it was a major thing. I got off really the first time I used Air Force One, landed, and we're coming down, and it was very beautiful. I mean, it was incredible. And we're going down Pennsylvania Avenue in the opposite direction. You know, normally you're used to going one way, and all of a sudden you're going the other way. The street was loaded up, and I wanted to go out, and I wanted to wave to everybody, but that wasn't smart. You know, the kid's a little bit dangerous, right? I mean, when you watch like Kennedy and some others, right? But I really felt, I don't know, the love was so crazy. And so I did get out of the car for a brief, you know, just for a very short walk. I thought it was very important to do. And Melania got out with her beautiful dress on that became sort of a staple. It was, people loved it. And Barron, and we're walking down the street. But where it really got amazing, we get to the White House, and now it's a little bit before dark, beautiful. And we went up to the president's quarters. They call them the presidential quarters. And I'm standing in this beautiful hallway. You know, it's funny. Nobody ever talks about the White House
so
as being
pointless. I just don't
inside.
care
You
about
think it's
this.
gonna be
You let Lindsay fucking jabber on.
616, which then would be like.
But I don't want let him jabber
You were a
either.
politician, but I was never a politician. It just
There you go.
just started, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm standing in the White House, and it was very, very surreal. That room was so beautiful to me, much more beautiful than it actually is. You know, to me.
I've already made this way faster than it actually is. I've increased it to make it way shorter.
So it was a little bit longer. Had to be a little bit longer. He lost his son, and they suffered. The two of them suffered from melancholia. They didn't call it depression; they called it melancholia, and they suffered from it. He was a very depressed guy, and she was a very depressed woman, more so than him. And on top of that, they lost their son, whose name was Ted. And it was just seeing it in the little pictures, a little tiny picture. I mean, you can't see the details there. Little tiny, everything the way it was. A little tiny picture.
Again, this is the Joe Rogan interview. It's like the most normal. They're just talking about like normal ass
And
life
he was,
shit.
You know, he was.
You know what I
he was in a
mean?
war. He was,
Like
he was having a
regular
hard time
ass
because he couldn't
people
beat Robert E.
stuff.
Lee. Robert E. Lee won like 13 battles in a row, and he was getting like a phobia, like a fighter. You know, not about the fight stuff, but like I went to a UFC fight, and it was a champion who was 14-1 about a year ago. You would know the names. 14-1, and the only guy he lost to was this one guy, but the guy that he was fighting was like almost just an average fighter. Lost numerous times, but he beat this one guy. So I said, okay.
I really don't know who you're talking about. I'm trying to...
I will figure it out.
Okay.
But about a year ago. But the point is that he lost. He wasn't nearly the fighter as the one. But the one who.
I do feel like I'm sitting on the couch like the end of a family reunion or barbecue or something, and just hearing some weird shit from a
Sometimes
cousin.
psychological advantage.
Yeah, what is this crazy thing? Lincoln had I don't know, I've never read this. I heard it from people in the White House who really understand what was going on with the whole life of the White House. But Lincoln had.
I know it's Joe Rogan's format. I know.
As the golfers would say, he had a phobia about Robert E. Lee. He said, I can't beat Robert because Robert E. Lee won many battles in a row. He was just beating the hell out of him. You know, they tried to get Robert E. Lee to be on the North, but he said, no, I have to be with my state. You know, the state was his whole thing, and he went to the South. And he was, I've had generals tell me, we have some great generals, the real generals, not the ones you see on television, the ones that beat ISIS with me. We defeated ISIS in record time. It was supposed to take years, and we did it in a matter of weeks. These are great generals. These are tough guys. These are not woke guys. But their favorite general, in terms of
Okay,
genius,
so
was
woke
really
now just means,
strategy.
let's be clear. Woke now just means gay, okay? Pansy. Good.
Strategy, strategically. He took a war that should have been over
Limp-wristed bitch, yes.
in a few days, and it was, years of hell, of vicious war. And so here I am standing there, and again, I had never really done this before. I ran a number of months before I won. I probably, I guess if you figured max it out, it would be a year, something like that. So I had never run for office. And I did well. I mean, I went into debates. We had 18 people, including me, and then slowly but surely they started to disappear. We had debates, good debates.
Everyone's aware of all this stuff. What I want to get to is what was the experience once you got inside?
It was just
what did you think it was going to be like in terms of your ability to govern?
Yeah.
This is your first experience governing anything. You've never been a
Yeah.
governor.
Always
You've never been a mayor.
Private, private stuff.
Business.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden
Well,
you're inside the White House.
The biggest thing was just that first moment of being in this hallowed. It was really a hallowed place to
Right.
me. It was
Surreal.
It was beyond. To me, that was the experience. It was a surreal experience. And then, with time, that wears off. With time, it becomes your place where you stay. And
Right.
I was doing a lot of. I had two things that I really focused on: governing the country and survival. Because from the moment I won, before I got to office, all of a sudden, they came down. I mean, nobody has ever been treated that way. And
He's right about that. No president has been treated with the level of scrutiny that Trump has been. Not even comparable levels. Well,
maybe.
And they killed JFK.
I'd say maybe JFK if you count the coroner.
Yeah. No president has been treated with the same level of scrutiny outside of Trump. And they tried to kill him. I think they actually wanted him to live, but whatever.
No, they tend to recreate the whole thing with the ear. It's
Yeah.
not reliable at that range with that shitty fucking rifle.
And you see that. I mean, you see where in the Washington Post very early on they said, well, now the impeachment stuff starts. And it did. I mean, it literally started from the beginning. So I had survival and run the nation. I had a combination. Most people don't have the survival. They get in.
What did you expect, though, in terms of, once you got inside, you had to appoint all these people?
Yeah.
how many appointments did you have to make?
Well, you
within a
have
very short
actually
amount of time?
10,000 appointments. Now, they're different. You have big ones, and then they appoint 100 people and 200 people. But the president really is involved with approximately 10,000 appointments. So you'll appoint a secretary of state, and he or she will appoint a lot of people. So it's a lot. But in terms of major ones, you probably have 100, but they're big ones. Treasury, state,
He's actually
military.
explained.
And how did you know who to...
The most astonishing thing about this is that I know that what Trump is describing is the basic structure of the American political system. But the reality is that he is the only politician that I have heard in decades just try to describe even how the system works. You listen to someone like Kamala Harris, she goes it's like a big rock. Just give me more money. And then that's how it works.
I should really stress that I'm going to have to be up for another 24 hours. Do not do the Kamala fucking laughing my presence again, or I'll get the mace.
Yeah, Bill and I have to be up late tonight.
Good point.
Yeah, I said we should have this
I
one.
had no experience. You
Right.
understand, Joe.
So
I
are
was
you
there
going-
17 times in Washington, and I never stayed over. According to the press, which I think is probably right. Over the years, I was only there 17 times. I never stayed over. So now I'm sitting there, I'm saying, this place is gorgeous, but I don't know anybody. It's like you go to certain areas, and other areas, they may be great. Washington was great. Washington's not so great right now. We got to fix it. We got to make it better. A very dangerous place, very badly maintained place. We're going to make it great. We're going to make it better. We're going to bring it back. But I wasn't a Washington guy. I was a New York guy. I was a New York builder, and I built buildings in New York, and I knew that whole world, but I didn't know the Washington world too well. And all of a sudden, you're supposed to be appointing top people. So,
what did you think it was going to be like? Versus, did you have any ideas of what it was going to be like, and what was different?
well, I was always involved in politics, but usually from the standpoint of a donor. I was a donor. I was a big donor. I gave money to politicians. I enjoyed politics.
Mostly Democrats, right?
Both, really, pretty much both. I actually pictures of Ronald Reagan and me when I was very
But
young.
you were a Democrat until what year?
I was a Democrat. I could get you the exact, but the early 90s. The early 90s. I switched over eventually. Actually,
Remember,
this
this fucking infuriates them that Trump was a Democrat. It's like, well, yeah.
And he admits to being one, which is rare.
Yeah. And they're like, no, he wasn't. No,
I'm melting. What a world. What a world.
Doing that for a little while, but then fortunately I didn't because it's very hard. You know, it's a two-party
Please
system.
save you from this autism.
And anytime you get a third party, I know you like RFK Jr. and so do I. He's a fantastic guy.
I do, but I thought
that
that
whole
being
thing
an
is very
independent
tough.
was nonsense.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work because even if you do great, you're not going to get Congress. In other words,
Right.
you need now to say, okay, now I'll get half of Congress. They're never going to vote for you. So even if you got there, which is very hard, and I know how you feel about Bobby, and I feel the same way, and he's now with us. But it doesn't. It's pure and simple. It's a two-party system.
Right.
And somebody, I won't mention his name, but somebody spent $250 million trying to get the nomination as a Reform Party candidate or whatever, and they got just nowhere. You get eaten. The system eats you alive.
Right.
So, so it was really somebody that not only was new to Washington, but was new to politics. So, in the office of the presidency, over the years, all those presidents, you've had 92% were.
Who didn't know that? No, everyone knew that. It's just that the fact that the Democrats want you to not know that Trump was a Democrat for like his whole life up until he ran as a Republican. He's voted Democrat in New York City for like 30 years. They don't want you to know that. Yeah, I mean, like, it's pointless, but there it is.
Politicians, and 8% were generals. General Eisenhower, General Washington, right? General George Washington, you had generals. So it's 8% no admirals, 8% generals, and 92% politicians. You know, they're politicians and they go in. So they never had a business guy, or they never had a guy that wasn't elected to an office. They were all like Ronald Reagan he was a movie actor, and then but he became the governor of California for, I think, 2 terms, and then he ran. So you never had a thing like this. But I, you know, in terms of me, and sometimes I'd use it.
You just fall asleep, Ben? Did you fall asleep?
I'm right here.
It as an excuse, and I don't like.
Are you eating a sandwich?
But I use it as an excuse. I had to rely on people that I respected or liked, but that I didn't know
Sounds like
them
you
well.
are.
I didn't know them that well. Some of those people I campaigned
eating
against,
without
because, you know, when you have 18 people, we had mostly politicians running in the election, you know, running in the primaries, and they got knocked out one by one. But I got to like some of them I didn't like at all. And I don't like them now. And I'd rely on them, and I'd rely on other people. So all of a sudden, people would come in, I'd like to recommend so-and-so to be Secretary of State, and I'd have 3, 4 people recommend. One thing I can tell you, everybody wants the position.
Of course.
No, but sometimes I'll hear, a lot of people don't want to work with Trump because Trump is tough to work with, etc. Let me tell you, everybody wants to be any one of these positions. They die for it.
Of course.
Now, they don't want to be known. I mean, there's a particular guy in New York, primarily, very big, very successful, very strong, very political, although he's not a politician. He'd give anything to be Secretary of State, but if they ask him, no, I don't think I would do it. But in the meantime, begging for it, okay, begging. They all,
I believe you.
Everybody wants it.
But
By the way, no matter what you do, but it's very dangerous to pick somebody outside of a politician because a politician's been basically vetted for years.
Right.
You pick a business guy, and they've never been vetted at all, and they're, you know, the head of a big company or something, but they've never been vetted. You know nothing about his personal life.
True.
About where he's been. When you put him in, it's a little bit dangerous because all of a sudden they get checked up, and you hear things that you say, wow, this is not going to work out too well. So it's very dangerous. Picking people that are outside of politics is somewhat dangerous.
So you're kind of stuck in a position where you have to pick established people. And then the problem with established people is established people already indoctrinated into the system.
And they're stiffs in many cases.
Stiffs.
They're survivors. I find that, you know.
What do you mean by stiffs? When you say stiffs?
A stiff, they don't have nothing. They have nothing. Or they're smart and survive. One little thing. So there was a congressman years before I ran, and I was very close to him. And I needed a license on something, and he was very important in getting the license. But it was a little bit controversial, the license, this particular thing that was being licensed. But I was close to this guy and helped him and everything else. And I went to him, I said, I'd like to have your help. And he said, let me take a look at it. I said, oh, that's not too good, but I really hope you're going to help. Anyway, he tapped me along for a long period of time and ultimately didn't do it. And I said, you are a stiff. You could have done this thing so easy, etc. But it was controversial. He was in Congress for many years, like 28 years. And, you know, there's a reason when somebody's there for 28 years, you got to be sort of smart.
Right.
You know, you have
A
all the
survivor.
scandals. And I realized he was a survivor.
And so they never do anything controversial. They never take any chances or speak their opinion that's outside of the... Yeah.
And yet I don't disrespect him for it.
So
I actually respected the guy more in a certain way. I said,
because he did survive.
You know what? He's been there like for 28 years, and he made it through. A lot of people don't make it through.
It's a good way for non-exceptional people to survive.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it certainly is.
So you're in there. You have 10,000 appointments you have to make. So you're getting advice from people. And at what point in time, did you have a moment in time where you realized, these are bad choices? Like, some of these people I shouldn't have had in there.
Oh, yeah. I think So the one question that you'll ask me, that I think you'll ask me, that people seem to ask, and I always come up with the same answer. The one mistake, because I had a lot of success, great economy, great everything. Everything was great. The military, we rebuilt it, biggest tax cuts in history, all this stuff. We had a great presidency. 3 Supreme Court justices. Most people get none. You pick them young. This way they're there for 50 years, right? So, even if a president is there for 8 years, oftentimes they never have a chance. I had 3. It was sort of the luck of the draw. But I will say that it always comes back to the same answer. The biggest mistake I made was I picked some people. I picked some great people, but you don't think about that. I picked some people that I shouldn't have picked. I picked a few people that I shouldn't have picked. And
neocons?
Yeah, neocons, or bad people, or disloyal people, or
people that were just
people
bad,
that were into the
people that bad advice.
Yeah, you're reading about him a little bit today. A guy like Kelly, who was a bully, but a weak person. You know more about bullies than anybody probably around, because you deal in a certain sport where the bullies are exposed very quickly.
Yeah.
But he's bad. Bolton was an idiot, but he was great for me, because I'd go in with a guy like a John Bolton. John Bolton. A friend of mine called me up. I was picking Bolton. He's a very smart guy. His name is Phil Ruffin. He's a very rich guy from Las Vegas. He's a great card player. He doesn't play cards, but he's a great player. He's just a natural. Got poker sense, right? Good old poker sense. And Phil Ruffin is a very, very wise kind of a guy, and one of the richest people around, and has had great success and understands people. So it was in that I was picking Bolton, or I picked Bolton. He called up. He said, "Don't pick him. Why? He's a bad guy." Now he wasn't in politics.
So he didn't take up some paralyzed hair. I'm fairly certain Spoon is passed out.
Guy. He's just it always works out bad with that guy. And I said, "Oh man, I wish you told me this 2 weeks ago. I already hired him. He's here," and he was right. But he was good in a certain way. He's a nut job, and every time I had to deal with a country, when they saw this whack job standing behind me, they said, "Oh man, Trump's going to go to war with us." He was with Bush when they went stupidly into the Middle East.
This is weirdly hypnotic.
I used to say it as a civilian, so I always got more publicity than other people.
Aiden, you're muted, I think.
Oh yeah, it was because I had horrible hiccups. Sorry. It is weirdly hypnotic, yeah?
Yeah, it's like, if I put this on the background, I could drop off to sleep fairly easily.
Right, yeah.
And it wasn't like I was trying. In fact, I don't know exactly why. Maybe you can tell me why.
Oh, I could definitely tell you. You said a lot of wild shit.
Maybe.
You said a lot of wild shit. And
I don't think you did say a lot of wild shit, honestly.
Your wild shit made you much more popular.
No.
And they
For
boosted you in
a
the polls because people...
politician, he definitely said a lot of wild shit.
Sure.
Like, he said some things you were not exact.
Yeah,
the executive,
as a politician, you're not supposed to say yes.
The first time he was in, he talked to the press. Who was it? It was one of the guys from CNN, whose name currently escapes me. He was just nagging him, and Trump just went, no, I'm not going to give you, you are fake news. Go ahead. Don't be rude. It was Jim Acosta, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was Jim Acosta, yeah.
We're tired of someone talking in this bullshit, pre-prepared politician lingo. And even if they didn't agree with you, they at least knew whoever that guy is, that's him. That's really him. Yeah. When you see certain people talk, certain people in the public eye, you don't know who they are. You have no idea who they are. It's very difficult to know. You see them in conversations. They have these pre-planned answers. They say everything. It's very rehearsed. You never get to the meat of it. One of the beautiful things about you is that you freeball. Like, you get out, you do these huge events, and you're just talking, and you're making. We've highlighted you on the show many times. When you did this Biden impression, where he's walking around, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's funny. It's stand-up. It's funny stuff. But it's like you were making fun of Elon one time. You were doing an Elon impression. It's great. You have like comedic instincts. Like when you said to Hillary, "You'd be in jail." Like it's great timing. Yeah. But it's like that kind of stuff was unheard of as a politician. Like no one had done that. And I think
it's funny. You need at least the attitude of a comedian.
This is the most boring shit ever, if I'm being honest.
It's a weird ledge right between interesting and boring.
I'm so
it's numbing.
bored by this.
It's actually numbing. We got to be on another podcast in like an hour and a half.
I know.
It's gonna fuck us to sleep.
I'm feeling I'm gonna fucking fall asleep.
Why do you think I said not to watch it?
We get it, Spoon. You're often correct.
Well, for once, yeah, you are correct, Spoon. This is the most boring shit I've ever seen.
What do you mean for once?
I'd say he's got a better track record than you usually do.
This is a very dangerous business. First of all, it's a very tough business.
It's the most dangerous business.
It's the most, well, for jobs.
And I've seen I've seen the top tier clips from this, guys. But the reality is that it's just boring as shit.
being a firefighter or being a cop.
I was like the only one who didn't know
It's the
this.
most dangerous. Being president is the most dangerous.
Especially you. I mean,
Oh, much more
you
so.
haven't even got to the election. There's been 2 assassination attempts, and they've brushed those out of the news like it was nothing.
Yeah, they'd rather not talk about them.
Imagine if there was assassination attempts on Biden. How hard people would be attacking the right. How they would be trying to get guns taken away from people. They would try to ramp up gun laws. They would try to figure out some way to blame you.
Yeah, this is
If there was
true.
attacks
Thank
on-
you.
if Biden
Thank
got
you,
shot in the ear,
Joe.
we would have never heard the end of it.
But I think he's in good shape because it's only consequential presidents. If you take a look at what's happened, look, I'm for having countries pay us billions and billions and trillions even dollars. I took in hundreds of billions.
You guys want to keep even watching this, or is this the most boring shit ever?
I'm entranced. I couldn't say I'm titillated, but I'm entranced.
I'm not titillated. I'm bored out of my mind.
It's mind numbing, but it's not boring.
Oh, it's boring as hell.
I mean, this is. I was listening to this because I wanted to do a video on this, and I'm still going to. And I
Okay,
wanted
let's.
to know.
I'm gonna wait till the top of the hour, and then we're gonna head out.
Of dollars from China, nobody
So
took in 10 cents. not
it's
one of
like
them.
listening to Mongolian throat singing. It means
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
This it's a drone that means nothing to me, but it's very pleasant.
Spoon, I listened to much of this earlier, without the nice little overlay.
Nice.
I didn't even realize how boring it was because I was cooking at the time.
President. I do
Let's use
things
this
that make
these
it-
moments to
I mean,
discuss
that don't
finer matters of
necessarily make
philosophy.
me so popular. I just do what's right.
Some dumb
And when
bullshit.
you do that, you're more. Look
Why
at
Europeans
Iran.
superior?
We would have never had the attack on Israel at all. Iran was.
I mean, you
broke.
got eyes,
They
haven't
told
you?
China, if you buy, you can't do business in the
yeah.
United States under any
And better
circumstance.
ears and
We're going to
nose,
go cold
chin.
turkey with China. Some people think that would have been a good idea anyway. But if you buy any oil, 1 barrel of oil from them, you're not doing business. I say that to many countries. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for Hamas. They had no. But I make myself.
Why are the Germans
You know,
the way
I mean,
they
I
are?
understand what I'm doing. You make yourself a
Look who
target.
they're surrounded by.
And it's a very dangerous business.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Post-Lithuanian Commonwealth.
So I said a thing. I don't know if it's right, but
I
one.
mean, yeah, you get
The
really.
next
You
podcast will be on
could.
Sevi's channel. Do we have Sevi's channel up here? Oh, let me bring it up. It won't be. It will be for a couple, not for a couple
Yep.
hours.
Yeah, someone
It's,
said, Monkey Balls pointed out like Joe Rogan is best for listening whilst doing something else.
Yeah.
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 We should use. That's what we should use this time to shit post about something else we want to talk about. Any other particular shit people want?
Someone
I'm
said to me,
sitting-
you need to address the banana pizza. This is too weird. Why? If you put pineapple on pizza, why is banana more strange to people?
They're both sweet fruits
Yeah,
that have
exactly.
been genetically engineered to basically be sugar cubes.
Where is Sevi's actual channel?
You could probably use grapefruit for the same way you use
please.
pineapple. I know apricots are fucking shit hot in savory food. Like if you have like a apricot stuffing.
Curry, yeah.
Yeah, like apricot is like prime for use as a. I think the main reason is that pineapples are cheaper. I've baked it.
This has got to
You
be
could probably grill
right. This has got to be the right channel, right? Sevi.
Booty
feel like the
banana.
Cozy,
I
that's
feel like-
her, right?
I feel like the water content would get fucked up.
Depends on the moisture. You just get semi-dried ones, maybe.
Bill, you gotta make sure that. No, I'm not sure this is Sevi's actual channel. Damn.
Because it's
Okay.
second wrong. Okay,
Go
how about
find me
how
Sevi's
about
channel.
Those
soon
of
as
you
we
that
can
haven't
gamers.
tried it, put banana on a pizza before you judge me.
Banana on pizza.
And if you don't like
delicious.
it, then I will judge you because your taste is shit.
Yeah, agree.
You already got banana bread that exists.
Banana on
and-
pizza is good, so is pineapple. Just get over it.
What if you made a pizza, like how you can get like baguette pizzas, those really shitty cheap
Yeah.
ones?
Yeah.
What if you did that but with like a slice of banana bread?
Probably really good. People just get mad about it because they've been told to get mad about it.
It's like people giving
Can
shit about like the
someone
banana
find
and ham
Sevi's
hollandaise.
Fucking thingy.
Aiden, how much of you guys
Bill,
drink?
can you?
Too much to be on the fucking.
I'm asking, can you find me Sevi's information so I can share her channel for where we're going to be in a couple hours?
People can judge
Anywho.
me. I'm okay with being judged, but I
Just
also
business,
think
right?
most people suck.
0.1% for a bull rider. I tell you, to me,
I'm
I tell
a
you,
top of
these
the
guys
hour,
that
by the
ride the
way.
bulls is worse than UFC. It's worse.
Yeah.
These guys, you see these big
got 20
monster
minutes,
bulls,
yeah.
and you see it in
wouldn't go
slow
now.
motion where the foot is like, you know, an inch away from the head if it hits the big guy's gun. But
Hour
they
and a
die.
half.
You know, they die.
So 1/10 of 1% die. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, 1/10 die.
Right.
And they certainly get hurt badly. Really, I mean, they can't walk after a certain
Ask the
period of time.
chat
but
random
the
questions
president-
about what they want to ask us.
Pose
For
any
the
questions you
last-
like, then.
For the last minute, yes, post normal or post just any weird questions in the chat, and we will try and answer them.
Okay, because I'm sorry that I'm going to have to end. There's no way I can make it through all this. I'm just going to get too tired.
Yes.
If you look at
The amount of assassination
and
attempts. Yeah.
attempts too,
Yeah.
and attempts. No, it's a very dangerous position. I never thought of that, by the way, when I did it. You don't tend to.
Did you just assume because people loved you on The Apprentice, they were going to love you as a
well,
president?
I figured it would be so easy. It's
well,
very
it probably
interesting.
would have been if the media didn't attack you the way they did. If they didn't conflate you with Hitler. I mean, even today, like Kamala was talking about you and Hitler. They're going to take what you said about Robert E. Lee. Oh, Donald Trump wishes the South won.
That's right. He loves Robert E. Lee.
They love to take things out of context and distort things.
But they don't even have to take them.
Yeah, it's about pizza now. Yeah.
But it's interesting.
We're gonna eat Pervitin.
I was very popular, and all those people loved me. I mean,
I don't think Pervitin still exists.
Some of these women, they're so.
Don't take
if
any
it does,
Pervitin.
it's in
Joy.
Don't take any Pervitin.
If you order MREs from before a certain date, you can get it.
I guess so, yeah.
But it's been there since the 40s.
Theater or something. It's just, you have to be on the show again. Come on, let's go.
She loved you.
She loved me.
That episode where
By the way,
people should watch that episode just to see what we're talking about. Like I said, we don't want to get a copyright strike, so we're not going to put it up. But if you watch the episode, it's bananas. It's like an alternative universe, and it's only
but Whoopi
9 years ago.
Whoopi
loved you. Gives you a hug and a kiss.
And how about that other one?
Who cares? This is so stupid. This is all so
Just
dumb.
let it play, because we've established now that this is just 20 minutes of bullshittery you've got to play with.
She writes me a letter. You're the greatest president. She leaves. She worked as an assistant press secretary. I hardly knew her.
Yeah, you should be careful when you buy old MREs, like pre-50s, because there could be stimulants in there that are illegal.
The left freaking out about this interview is so stupid, and it is why it kind of held out to the end. Because this is the biggest nothing burger that's ever fucking existed in the history of nothing burgers. It's the most normal conversation I've ever fucking heard. It's so boring. It's so fucking normal. I'm so bored by it. Who cares about any of this shit?
She was,
My sister in Christ, you're the one who picked this for the show.
No, I didn't pick it. I'm
Yes, you
saying
did.
Yes, you
left.
did. You're the one who did all the shit to it. What the hell are you talking about, woman?
The left. Yes, I did it on purpose because the left thinks this is the most freaking important thing that's ever happened in the history of the
Since when
universe.
did you ever listen to the left on fucking thing?
I'm trying to illustrate
left
why
are
it's stupid. I'm trying to
retarded.
illustrate why it's dumb.
They'll get the mace.
I'm actively doing it. I'm showing you why it's dumb that anyone cares about this. It's
Just in
the
the far
most
right-hand side,
boring
whatever the hell
shit
it
you've
is.
ever
This is
heard.
faking gay.
She writes a letter, the most beautiful letter.
I shared it. I saved
He's
it
a
for the
consequential.
end.
He was the greatest
It's
president.
dumb and boring.
Then all of a sudden she
Zephyrus,
goes
I
in
think
the
there's
news, she's
more
like,
interesting
"Hell,
things to read
because
than
they won't hire us.
genteel.
I've had many people go on CNN and they call and said, I don't know what to do. What?
It's so
They want to pay me a lot,
boring.
but I have to be negative on you. I said, be negative. That's okay. There are guys on like CNN. They won't hire them. Sean Duffy is a.
Yeah, this is like the definition of like background.
Okay, are
for
we
the
done
noise.
with this?
He's only positive about
It's like
Trump.
white noise,
So they kept
goddamn.
him, but they
Aiden chirping out. That's my new favorite
I'm
phrase.
chirping out hardcore.
negative. Let my friends make the money.
Category 4 chirp out.
Does it humanize him? Sure, but he's already been humanized. This is all just pointless.
But it's also they're diminishing themselves. They're
hurting
are
themselves.
they're killing all their credibility, and it's opening up the credibility to new
Two
media. It's opening up
cute
the credibility
men
to
are
the-
having a
all
little conversation, sweet little conversation. I'm gonna hold their hands. Okay, it's a little bit homosexual, my dude.
The worst I've ever seen, though, and I've seen the worst. I mean, I've been a part of it. I've seen the worst. Kamala.
No, I don't need a Subway surfer. I need this conversation to be interesting.
What do you define interesting?
Gave an answer.
Right
that
now
any
it's boring
child
as
wouldn't give you
fuck.
So bad.
I watched the whole
In
thing, and
60
I
minutes,
thought the whole thing
took
was
the answer
boring
out.
as
They took
fuck.
the whole-
So if
and
you
they
thought
put
it was boring as
another
fuck,
answer
why are
in.
you subjecting us to it?
Which didn't make sense.
Yeah,
Because
this
everyone's
is your
talking
idea.
about that.
It was your fucking idea. Yeah.
Because we're supposed to talk about it because everyone says this is interesting. I think it's boring as fuck.
Okay, well, if I told you it's shit and you watched it, why the hell are you subjecting us to it? This makes no fucking sense.
Because why do you think I put it at the end?
No, that still doesn't make any sense.
Either, but it was bad.
So, pizza
They
toppings.
took the, well, it wasn't editing.
Okay.
It was this was not editing. You know, editing is where I'll give an answer and
Okay,
they'll take a
what's-
couple of words and
okay,
change
this-
around,
okay,
or they might
but
even
this-
take a
this
sentence
is
or
make
two
a
off,
great
which is
question.
very bad. But
The
that's
base
it's very bad. You know, I give an
barbecue or
answer which
tomato?
was a very
Yeah.
good answer.
Now,
I
under
was
normal
talking about,
circumstances, I can't eat tomato sauce. Gives me fucking indigestion.
You like to weave things
However,
But when you do the weaves, and
Pete's
you have to be
like
smart
one of
to
the
do
few
weave.
places
It's
I'll
so
like
boring.
still have
We're
tomato.
talking about little pieces all over here, but
Gotta
it always
get back
ends
to
up.
home.
No, it comes back.
Barbecue
Yeah.
sauce-based
Right.
ones
So
aren't very
what
common
does
over
it
here, so I
end
couldn't
up
really
in
tell
the
you if I
wilderness, right?
prefer it.
But they can
Might be a
take
bit much.
my answer, and you know what? They may take a little piece of it out or something, and they use the term.
You got to tailor the
topping
toppings to that as well.
You guys can't both know this is the most boring thing you've ever heard.
That's why we're having this conversation about pizzas instead.
Okay, so all right.
This is just
I'm
background
gonna
noise.
put
It
here.
gives us the illusion of credibility when
I
we
had
talk
to
complete
wake back
shite
up. I
for
had to wake
fucking
back
half
up.
an hour.
I had to wake back up in 2 hours to be honest.
I'll crack another can of Monster and we'll chug on through
But
this.
then but that's all we got is this.
So yeah, and we're talking about pizzas. Get with the fucking program.
All right, okay, all right. Let's
What
watch this.
is the weirdest
okay.
shit you could think that would be good on? But look, this is just background noise. Just let it fucking ride.
I'm so.
Let it ride.
all right.
Let it ride. Just
Have
let
you
it.
had have you? What about the people who like crack an egg on it?
Oh,
I
I
c-
do like that though.
I don't. I would
Thanks
have
for
to.
shooting
I would
us.
rather.
That's pretty good. No, cracking the egg on it. I like that. I like that.
I don't.
like that
I would.
egg.
You have to have the right kind of oven type for that one to work. Otherwise, it'd be
no,
too
it's good
like
though, when you have
watery.
when the yolk is right though, and it can just
At
explode.
at that juncture, just
very
boil soft boil an egg and dip your pizza in the
To
egg.
be honest, true to be honest.
I've never heard. I think it's the biggest
Like,
scandal in broadcast history. What happened to
There's a lot of.
CBS.
I think we could push the boat out a bit. What's the
I'm gonna
weirdest
end
shit
at
you
the
can
top
think
of the hour. It's so
Yeah,
boring.
we know, mate. You told us like 10 minutes ago.
That shows that she's essentially incompetent. And they took the answer. Could you imagine them doing that?
We
for
can
me?
So, what's the weirdest shit?
See
Like,
it. Can we
Go
show
ahead.
it? No,
Sure.
we get in trouble. We
Broccoli.
get copyright strike.
I've seen those.
Listen, anyone can find
indemnify
it.
you.
But
A weird one I've
what
seen
was un-
is
interesting
blue
was
cheese, honey, and walnut.
Version
That was actually really nice.
It was like a preview.
Somebody made a big mistake.
Somebody put that preview out
Some
there.
kid
and
put the
then-
preview out.
Exactly.
And then
Mhm.
bosses did this.
You'd be surprised how good it is.
Said, we got a problem.
Exactly. And then
That blue cheese, honey, and walnut pizza we got from Mims.
Oh yeah, that shit was tits.
He got caught by mistake.
Well,
But don't you think that's a bit?
And there's one with like Induja on, which I always like.
And fraud.
And do you-
Did it have mozzarella or just blue cheese?
It was just blue. I think no, it had like
Had a little bit of mozzarella as a
parm
base, and then it was.
And it had blue cheese on top, and it
I think
was,
blue cheese like mixed throughout.
and walnuts, blue cheese and walnuts, and honey.
You couldn't have just blue cheese on a pizza; it'd tear your fucking face off.
Yeah, it was such a good fucking pizza.
Yeah, the salt content would kick your teeth in.
Yeah, like just. I used to have a little bit of that, and you mix some parm and mozzarella 70-30 makes.
So good.
They're worth a fortune.
Yeah, most pizzas that cheese is 70% mozzarella, 30% cheddar.
But wait until you try my fucking shit I've just made, Bill. I think you're gonna not be happy with it.
Yeah, the cable's different.
I
By that I mean I think you will be happy
just
with
a
it,
different
but
deal. But with the net,
it's very bad for you.
I just want to go back on keto, man.
You're not going. You're not able to. You're not allowed until I'm done with.
This is the abuse I suffer, folks, at home.
Why?
I want to be skinny, goddammit.
I'm trying.
Why do you not feed this man healthy stuff?
I do feed him healthy stuff.
He
I
just
feed
said he
him a
wants to go
lot
on a
of
keto
healthy.
diet.
Keto is. I don't like cooking keto food. I can do it, but I don't like doing it because it sucks.
But Bill wants to be thinner.
Well.
She's a feeder. Don't trust her.
works. They give those like
She didn't deny it.
billions of dollars. They give them out free, but you have to be honest and all. That was
And
bad.
here I am
think
making
that
pizza
David
every
Muir
day.
and that woman that was aside, I never even heard of her, but they kept interrupting me. It was like I said, how
Pepperoni
many people
bacon
am I
is
dating?
good.
I got this
Exactly,
one and I got you
Keyshawn
two.
tea time.
But he went after me 11
You're the
different times.
biggest pineapple apologist I know, so don't fucking.
I put bacon
Well,
and
that's his job,
sausage
unfortunately.
and everything.
I'm
You know
sure
that.
they want. You're right. Well, the problem was they fact checked you and they didn't fact
Like
check
chicken
her. And one of the
Provence
most egregious examples
pizzas.
of that was when she said that there are no troops right now deployed in war zones.
Okay, Bill.
Pretty nice.
Answer this question. Did I make
What?
probably one of the tastiest things you've ever had today?
A pie kicked ass. I'm not gonna lie.
I made what? A mix of canned corned beef,
The Baxter's kind for those following at home.
canned corned beef,
Kind of corned beef,
a
princes.
game stew mix
Yep.
of soup,
That again was that. So that's the Baxter's, the corned beef princes.
freshly cooked bacon lardons.
Waitress brand.
And yes, was that not the tits?
It was really nice. Pastry really kind of helped it like work through. What's
And I
that?
put inside of a piece of pastry. Yep.
Can't go wrong. Any situation that ends
Just
with and
saying.
then it was placed within pastry, yeah, improvement.
I'm telling you. I know what's up.
There's a very famous viral video that went online of troops in a war
Turkey and
zone
stuffing
saying, "Well, what
pizza.
the fuck are we?"
Yeah.
Question mark?
I know what's up.
No, don't even bother pausing it. We're not missing anything. It's fucking trite.
You understand? Canned corned beef is that there's no such thing as like fresh
It's like
corned beef. in
particle
the UK.
board.
Doesn't exist.
It's
over here.
bully beef. It's like the kind you get in ration
It's
cans.
just pastrami. It's pastrami, or you don't get sliced corned beef over here at all. It's just in a can.
Then because there's thousands of them. Dan
He's the best, I
Crenshaw,
love it.
the congressman, posted on his Instagram all of the various examples of troops that are deployed, thousands and thousands of troops that are.
Yes, I made a corned beef pie.
But
Yes.
the point is, if this is going to be
Who's
an
that?
actual real debate,
Mini
and not a
pies.
propaganda exercise, if it's going to be a real debate, you have to fact check
Mince
everybody.
pies,
Like,
medium.
if someone says
doesn't
maybe
wanna-
she thought there was snow, which is also a problem. So it's one of two things. It's either it was not true, it was a lie on purpose, which is terrible, or it was the opposite. It was ignorance, which is also terrible.
Well, Joe, when I said crime is soaring, he said, no, crime has gone down. I said, where did you hear that one? Crime has gone down. I mean, I'm debating with this guy, but I've had that.
Well, there was amended FBI statistics that came out after that that showed that crime had gone up substantially.
And by the way, the statistics were a fraud because when they put out the statistics, they didn't include some of the worst places. They didn't include some of the worst cities, some of the most deadly places. But
And
when the
there's
real
also
numbers
a
came
problem-
out, I turned out to be right. But I haven't.
You turned out to be right, but then there's another
And
problem.
they also didn't. They were only saying like, oh, non-violent crime has gone down. It was right during the pandemic when everyone was afraid. We told everybody that they were going to die if they went outside. Weird.
Unreported crime is way up because people have lost look, the morale that the police department has in a lot of these cities where they've done this defund the police bullshit. The morale of these poor cops, it's fucking horrible. It's the dumbest idea
So
of all
bad,
time.
so
But what they've done is they've made these cops feel terrible. They're like good cops. I think cops are just like everybody else. Most of them are great. It's like everybody else. But if you run into one carpenter and he does a shitty job in your house, you say carpenters fucking suck. But they don't suck. Most of them are great, and
Police
that's the
have
key thing
been-
with cops. But the point is, like, they did all of these things in this very foolish way.
It's
and
so boring.
These cops are suffering the consequences of it, and so subsequently, what happens is a lot of crime is unreported. A lot of crime, like you call the cops, they're too
What's with
busy,
the dumb
you can't
bullshit
get
about
your
on a
house got
pizza?
broken into. Sorry, it doesn't even make a report.
Like, it's not actually a boring subject.
Stop pausing it. Just let it play in the background. We
It's a
talk
really
about dumb
important
bullshit.
subject, but it is boring.
There's a lot of people that they just give up.
It's so sad what's happened. And I'll tell you what, I go to police funerals, and we went to one in Long Island. I visited the family in Long Island, a very big deal. It's so dangerous. People don't realize the car, dark
Someone's an
windows,
artichoke
pull over.
on pizza.
He's a gentleman. Please pull over. Door
Yeah,
opens, guy
artichokes
comes
good on
out
pizza.
firing.
Never had
Even if they're
artichoke.
allowed to pull out their gun, which they're not.
Just in general.
Pull
Do it
out
in
the-
time. Yeah.
They still wouldn't have time.
What kind was the garlic?
They opened a
bacon?
door,
Yeah, that's what.
and he was killed, and his partner was hurt. He was killed, and you don't. You don't even have an eighth of a second to think, and it is such a dangerous job. That in particular, think of it. You go up to a car, you don't know who's sitting there with a gun, and if they have a gun, you really don't have a chance. You're not allowed to have your gun out, by the way. They have very strict rules. So number one, they're in it. But even if you could have your gun out,
You're really
the
hypnotizing.
door opens and and bullets start firing out. And especially where they have the dark windows, where they have the darkened windows, it is such a dangerous.
Okay, thin
profession.
or thick cut
And it's very hard
pizza?
to get cops now because they're not given any backup.
Thin.
And you're right. You can, they have.
Yeah, thin.
Absolutely.
I've had an actual like in situ in Chirac Chicago pizza.
Yeah.
Wasn't impressed.
Yeah, we Bill and I both have had Chicago pizza from Chicago in
Are you talking about the deep
Chicago.
dish?
Yeah, like the one that's like, oh,
Yeah,
the weather has
we did-
changed and it's gotten slightly colder. The pizza's become 8 pizzas.
We got one with
by the
Count
way-
Dankula, by the way. So like,
That
yes,
That is not a pizza, that's a pie, and anyone who says otherwise
is a
can
pie.
fuck off.
It's a
and find
quiche
me.
with autism.
but yes,
Yes, exactly.
Bill and I ate Chicago deep dish pizza with Count Dankula.
Well, I wasn't going to name drop despite being less famous than everyone else here. But,
I'm just
you know,
saying,
get-
like,
fuck me, I guess.
like, we didn't just do it. We did it with somebody who famous,
Unfortunately, Nucker was there to even things out by being less famous than the average person.
Like an eighth of a second to make a decision that's going to change their life. If they make the wrong decision, they're going to end up on the front page of every newspaper.
If he's
in the
listening at
country.
home, he just called me a dog
That
breeder.
was gay, whatever.
Their job and
We're
their
all
wife is
gay.
going to be gone, and everything's
Absolutely.
going to be gone.
And here's another thing that people don't talk about. How many of them have PTSD? Probably most of them. These guys are seeing people shot all the time. You know,
Every Scotsman that me and Aiden know, Aiden has dragged to the tilted kilt
Yeah.
somewhere in America,
Well,
which I consider a hate
that's
crime
how-
at the best of
that's how you-
times.
That's how you offend the Scotsman. Yeah.
A lot of
But we have to
cops
give
have
them
seen-
back their
Yes.
dignity. We just have to give it back. You said it so good. You never hear anybody say that. You're never going to have it perfect.
No, the
You're
way
gonna
to
have a bad
offend a
apple.
Scotsman
In
is
everything.
you don't
Every
give him a
profession.
curly
But
whirly
every
with
time
the
there's
hair
a bad
was.
apple that gets massive
Maybe.
publicity.
How did
And
you know I was eating a curly whirly?
But it's also this very
Where's my heroin?
thing where people say defund the police, get rid of the police. You know, even Kamala Harris was a part of that. It's a very stupid way to look at it. What you should do is fund the police. You should have better training. You should have
Yes,
cops that feel
obviously.
more appreciated.
Again, this is
You
why
should
it's
have
so
some-
stupid. Like everything being said here is like just like it's so.
You know what you should do instead? You should get rid of all the foreigners and have segregation,
is
and then
the-
the crime would massively drop.
This is the most
normie shit I've ever fucking heard, and it's
Joe
boring.
Rogan. What the hell do you expect?
If you get rid of all the foreigners and then do segregation, what the
so
fuck's what are you segregating from? It would just be what whites and then just the Irish.
It's a political idea,
But
right?
anybody with that political thought, I don't think should be running for president. And I think people are getting wise to it. You know, we're doing pretty well now. I don't know. Maybe in a week from now, say, sorry about that, I was wrong, but we're leading everything. And I think we're going to have a very good election. But I tell people, because people are starting to get to know her. But she was defund the police. She was all these transgender operations. You know, if you wanted a sex change and you were in detention and you demanded a sex change, they would give you a sex change.
Well, the wildest one is this idea of giving free sex change to illegal immigrants.
That's right.
Yes.
In detention.
That is the wildest
But
thing.
Come to America, we'll chop your balls off.
Finally, we've gotten to an interesting
But she was
point.
in
Yeah.
favor of it. So think of it. She changed 15 policies. In
All it
fact,
takes is one person
She stole your idea about no
to intentionally misfile someone's documents. Like say one person who goes a bit funny at one checkpoint between America and Mexico, and they just tick the box for transgender surgery on every single person.
Yep.
And so everyone, so that little train around off the border becomes the train to fucking Dachau.
Yep.
honestly, nobody
you know
ever
Steve
heard of
Saylor, Aiden?
Hmm?
You know Steve Saylor?
Yes.
I think he's speaking your language.
Yeah.
I have an email right now for him that says, "Why do autists prefer baseball stats?"
Oh, I love baseball stats.
Yeah.
Wait,
why.
what? Wait a minute. What? Do you want to talk about baseball statistics?
No, this is literally the name of the email.
I love baseball stats.
It's from his new column in
It's
Tucky's
the
magazine.
only sport I give any fuck about because I occasionally like to look at baseball stats and do a bunch of calculations on them. Because the thing that's really cool about baseball is that you can run a bunch of calculations on it and figure out who's gonna win.
And you're a number crunching dork.
Haven't you seen Moneyball?
Aiden,
if you're this good at if you're this good at statistics, you should do some gambling, get some
do you
money,
mean?
so I can stop being part of.
What do you mean? Am I this good at statistics? Anyone can do that level of statistics.
No,
as included in Moneyball.
No, what I do
it's
is
basic mathematics. Well, I mean,
I like to see 30
that's not
men
true.
smash the shit out of each other on a rugby field.
Hang on, I'm having a. How do
Before or after the game?
Anyone could do the
During.
mathematical calculation. Anyone could do it.
Bill.
Anyone could. just figuring out how, understanding what it means and how to do it. Anyone could do it. Okay, anyone could do. But no one would. When I do occasionally get interested in baseball, which is rarely, all I do is just run a bunch of mathematical calculations on it and then go, oh, I know.
If I'm gonna watch anything and it involves math, it's gonna be how many tits do I need to see before
Why
I
does the
bust an
maths not
erection?
make you more interested in it?
Because I'm not a nerd.
The maths are the most interesting part of sport.
No, it's not.
You're out of your mind.
That's because you don't understand why men watch sports.
I watch sports
It's
to crunch.
Yes,
to
because
find
you're a
out that my
nerd.
mathematical
That's not the
calculations
reason
were
why
correct.
men watch sports. Men do not watch sports to do fucking math, you weirdo.
Yeah, I think that's the most fun part of sport is
That's
then
because
seeing
you're a
how a
fucking
calculation
stats nerds, you weirdo.
is then seeing how a calculation actually works out in reality. Yes.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I'm watching it for the smashing of blokes.
All right.
You really should rephrase that one.
Yeah, you should
I know.
rephrase the smashing of blokes. Anyway, actually it is
Back of
midnight.
ball.
Which
Conversion.
is when I said I was
fries,
going
gimme.
to head out. And I gotta be completely honest, the Joe Rogan interview here is the most boring shit I've ever seen. Should I keep going, guys? Otherwise, cause I'm real friggin' tired of this. I've already.
We already
so,
told him not to put it on.
It's so sleepy. It's so boring.
This might be a good way to turn off to sleep this evening.
Like,
Unfortunately, I
this is
don't think
like, gonna make me go to sleep
just
from
put it into
this.
a little speech.
Yeah,
Well,
if you
but
get
I think
popular.
I think we still have that issue. I think that is.
I mean, it's not like dislike Trump or Joe Rogan. This is the sleepiest stuff I've ever seen. It's so boring.
You could actually use this as like an actual ASMR tape.
All right. Okay. I actually have to go up and get onto
Yeah,
a
just talk
stream
chat,
in
yeah.
2 hours, so I am gonna head out then, so I can get like a little bit of sleeps. Is that alright?
Yes.
I will read the last couple super chats, which is Cold Warbeck for 5. Did I already read that? Which is I did. And so just La Monster for 2 says, so how about that Puerto Rico, huh? I know, right? See, this stuff's so boring. No one wants to super chat because it's boring as heck. We will be on Sevi's live stream. If you know who Sevi is, it's related to Geeks
Laura
and
said
Gamers.
hi.
We'll be over there with Sevi.
You will know who I am.
In about an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. Yeah. Anywho, I gotta take it. I gotta take a nap because otherwise I'm gonna not be able to do it. So, thank you guys so much for showing up. Sorry for my sleepiness. I am just sleepy. I think my video will be out tomorrow. I think I might just tell my advertiser if they can't work it out, it's just going out. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 or 3 videos tomorrow. I've already got one written.
Wowie. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. See y'all next week. Cheers. Love you. And bye-bye.
Have a showing.